Hey guys, how all of you beautiful people are doing? And yes, this is a new series, Life as Goku. Kris Lander is the definition of average. Average student going to an average school, living an average life until one day a trunk kissed him a little too hard and he is thrown through the void. When he wakes up, he finds out that he is in the body of Son Goku. With his new life, he will be anything but average and rise to the top until he becomes a god. So let's start without any delay. Jackie started the fight with 3 swift kicks in a vertical line, aiming to end the match quickly. Tracking the trajectories of each kick, Goku was able to match Jackie's speed and put both his hands out to block. Expecting an impact, Goku braced himself only to be left confused when he felt nothing. He saw that each kick actually phased through him like they were an illusion. Before he can figure out the situation, Jackie's fist materialized out of nowhere, caving Goku's face in. Goku, a little dazed, wipes the blood off his mouth when he backed up a little. What the hell? I have never seen that before. Jackie smirked at Goku, sensing his confusion. You have much to learn, young one. If you can after-image your entire body, then individual attacks are a possibility, right? Enlightened, Goku instantly wanted to try and improve himself even more than what he was thought possible. Initiating this time, Goku tried the after-image technique that he saw Jackie do earlier. Creating after-images wasn't just moving fast, but creating a sense of yourself at the place that you want. Goku was only able to fully replicate it after watching Jackie do it. One Goku popped out after the other, like a horde of monkeys that had just seen their meal for the day. Each one was in a different fighting pose, like an elaborate dance, shifting from one style to another with grace. Amazing! Jackie was utterly surprised to see the sheer learning capabilities of his own student as his eyes darted from the after-images before him. Doing tick-for-tack, Jackie also transformed into a blur of after-images, albeit not as smooth as Goku. He, however, made up for it with his superior experience whenever they clashed. Goku spun around and launched a Superman punch with unreal agility. Jackie sidestepped unhurriedly, having Goku's punch graze him on the rib. Jackie sent a fist to the back of Goku's head only to find air. Goku turned his head just in time to avoid his hit and promptly did a handstand. Goku lurched his 2 feet to Jackie's face. Seeing the impending souls, Jackie jumped back, feeling the wind that Goku produced. Using the momentum from his kick, Goku was able to get himself back up. Goku is this strong. I was instantly defeated and he is standing toe-to-toe with that old fool. I need to step up my game. Yamcha's self-confidence risen when Ran Fan actually accepted a date with him but got shot down again when he saw Goku's monstrous strength. Lad, you are pretty good, but let's see if you can stand up to my drunken fist. Hick. Jackie suddenly started to become dizzy and swayed back and forth. Knowing this move from his grandpa, Goku also started to use the drunken fist. The very serious fighting competition turned into a slugfest of 2 drunken dudes as everyone's sweat dropped at the incredible display. How is executing the drunken fist? A kid like him shouldn't be able to use this move unless he actually experienced being drunk. Don't tell me that rascal Gohan. Hey! How are you able to use drunken fist? Goku started to laugh a little in his mind as he told Jackie. Isn't it only to act like an idiot and go with the flow? I see my master do that all time, so it was pretty easy. Jackie's face reddened and decided to punish Goku later for that remark, no matter how true it was. Seeing his drunken fist was getting nowhere, Jackie sobered up and backed up from Goku. Goku did the same. They started to go back to using martial techniques. After a while, they split up, looked battered and bruised all over from the exchanges that they made. Why, you are one incredible martial artist. You must have one amazing master. Ha ha ha. Why yeah, thanks, you too. Goku's sweat dropped at Jackie's shameless, hidden praise of himself and really wanted to finish the fight already. Once Jackie stopped laughing, he did some strange movements with his arms, like he was a mine with a wall in front of him. Noticing the move and the fact that he was getting sleepier, Goku squeezed his eyes quickly to regain his mind. Surprised at Goku's quick decisiveness, he started to sing his lullaby, hoping all was not lost. This time, Goku covered his ears to block out most sound. Gritting his teeth, Jackie abandoned his technique and sent a fist towards Goku, who was open because he was covering two of his vital senses. Noticing Jackie's presence getting closer, Goku just blindly put his arms to block his face and braced himself. He didn't open his eyes to avoid getting disoriented by a sudden intake of light. Goku got lifted off the air by Jackie's sheer strength and he landed right next to the edge, trying to regain his sight. You are the most promising martial artist I have ever had the chance witness. Unfortunately, you are still behind me in terms of strength, young one. Suddenly, Jackie's body swelled up to resemble a bodybuilder. He started to kiss his pecs and gave winks full of hearts towards some of the ladies in the crowd. How did none of the Z fighters figure out that Jackie is Master Roshi after the Kamehameha and this technique? Feeling the waves of pressure coming off of Jackie's new form, Goku decided to try out his last resort. This form is not perfected yet, but it seems like I have no choice. Ignoring Jackie's confusion, Goku looked up towards the moon that was shining brightly in the night. Consequentially, Goku started to grow hair all over his body with various monkey features replacing his old ones. Everyone's eyes bulged at the rumored great ape-roamed Mount Paozu that loomed over them like a titan of death. *T. Jackie quickly dodged a fist that came towering over him with his enhanced physique. Goku's flurry of punches started to distort the martial ring to an extreme degree as Jackie was barely dodging his death. Goku, although made considerable progress in controlling his great ape form, was unable to fully exhibit and utilize his giant body and 10x increase in strength properly. Jackie, on the other hand, had better control over his enhanced form despite the weaker power increase. Jackie started to climb up Goku's arms and attacked him with various punches and kicks like an annoying fly. Goku barely took any damage with these attacks, but the accumulation of each attack and frustration was eventually getting to his head. The scene resembled a certain gorilla versus a series of annoying attacks pelting him from the skies. Seeing Goku get wearier, Jackie went in front of the rampaging beast and started to charge up his laser. Kamehameha. Knowing that this was it, Goku tunnel-visioned on Roshi and opened his mouth to concentrated the enormous ki that dwelled inside him towards his mouth. It was like looking at a light show when the beams charged up with one side entirely red versus the engulfing blue. Ha! Goku fired when he heard Jackie finish his chant. His beam of death barreled his way through and completely decimated the entire side that Jackie was placed. All that was left behind was a shadowy afterimage that was still in the Kamehameha pose in his wake. Looking behind him, he saw a blue beam full of turtle power spiraling towards him, spelling out his defeat. Goku woke up with a splitting headache like he just woke up from a hangover. Looking around, he saw pure destruction around him from his fight with Jackie-chan. Goku laid there thinking back to his fight with Roshi and how he lost, if just barely. Seems like I lost to Master Roshi even if he was somehow stronger than canon. It is not too surprising, I basically had the same training as the OG Goku, so bridging that gap would have been almost impossible. Even with my newly acquired, controlled Great Ape couldn't defeat Roshi's fine technique during his enhanced state. A shadow loomed over him from behind. He turned around to see the rest of the crew with the addition of Yamcha, Pua, and Ran Fan. Bulma, leading the group, spoke up to the dazed Goku, who was still lying down. That was one amazing fight, Goku. What was with that transformation earlier? I have never seen you do that before. Bulma's eyes filled with curiosity as she remembered Goku's wish while everyone else was filled with a little fear. That was a transformation I had since I can remember whenever I looked at the full moon. It's hard to control, but as you saw, it gave me a lot of power. I am still working on it. Formidable trump card there, Goku. Too bad that the great Jackie Chun was stronger than you. What a great guy. You need to keep on training to get stronger even if you can't live up to his awesomeness. Alright, let's go get some grub. Master Roshi's boasting bounced off Goku and onto everyone else as Roshi dashed over to the nearby restaurant like a famished hobo. Everyone was at a table having a good time eating to their heart's content. Yamcha was attempting to flirt with Ran Fan, shaking nervously continuously. Goku and Krillin were sharing their training regime with Bulma and Shishi while they talked about the recent events that led them to be friends. Lastly, Pua was stopping Master Roshi and Do-Along from molesting their innocent, plump waitress. Hey Goku, what are you planning to do now? I am going to go and train at Master Roshi's. He actually invited Yamcha to join, but I don't know if he will, seeing how he is with Ran Fan now. Looking over, Krillin saw Ran Fan whispering something into Yamcha's ear while his entire face went red and nearly passed out. I am going to head over to Bulma's. I promised her I would do something, so now that we are not training I plan to do it. Krillin had a surprised expression while Shishi was elated hearing the news. Why, you are going to come with us to Bulma's house? I practically live there now ever since my castle burned down. Lucky bastard, he's got 2 hot chicks while I am going to be stuck with those 2 pervs over there. Krillin looked over his shoulder to find 2 giant red slap marks on both Roshi's and Do-Along's face like burn marks. Goku was currently in a car with Bulma driving and Shishi in the back seat. They were hashing out the details of Goku's job at Capsule Corp. My parents don't see the point in having security with how laid back they are. Still, with all these armies popping up one after the other, they can't argue with me of hiring some personnel. Right now I have 2 other guys hired and I reserved the head guard duty to you. The other 2 seem intense and tough, so you might need to prove yourself to them. You are a kid after it's all said and done. Hey, I am a teenager. 13 years old. Could have fooled me. Anyway, as the head of security and my friend, you will be staying in the main building mostly looking over my family and I. The other 2 will be taking orders from you and looking over the science department. Goku was soaking in the details of his job until he remembered something. He turned around to look at Shishi, who was looking at the passing buildings. By the way Shishi, you said you mostly stay with Bulma, right? Where do you sleep? For the first time on the car ride, Shishi looked at Goku straight in the eyes. I live in the guest room next to Bulma. My dad is trying to regain at least a portion of his money back to get a house. Are you going to go to school, Goku? Bulma looked at Goku with the side of her eyes. Cars were honking continuously at her, yet she pretended to not hear them. You kidding? School is cancer. Agreed. Shishi and Bulma said simultaneously. Just as they pulled up to Capsule Corporation, Bulma pulled a fast one on Goku. "Hey Goku, you remember our adventure months back?" Goku nodded hesitantly, not liking where this was going. Bulma started to rummage through her cupboard looking for something. Eventually, she pulled out a shiny orange ball with one single red star inside. "I found a Dragon Ball. I wasn't looking but just found it accidentally one day." "Old times, huh?" Goku was looking at the Dragon Ball with a piece of sweat coming out of his head. Good thing they hired security. They were getting out of the car when they saw two tough-looking people at the entrance intimidating anyone who gets near. One was the definition of a buff man with ripped muscles in every aspect of his body. The other was slimmer for equally intimidating with his sharp gaze that made you feel uncomfortable. The tough-looking one and Goku stared at each other when Goku got off the vehicle. Everyone can feel the tension in the air weighing down on them as their stare went on for a minute. Eventually, the tough man spoke, stupefying everyone. "The name is Bob." Jackie started the fight with 3 swift kicks in a vertical line, aiming to end the match quickly. Tracking the trajectories of each kick, Goku was able to match Jackie's speed and put both his hands out to block. Expecting an impact, Goku braced himself only to be left confused when he felt nothing. He saw that each kick actually phased through him like they were an illusion. Before he can figure out the situation, Jackie's fist materialized out of nowhere, caving Goku's face in. Goku, a little dazed, wipes the blood off his mouth when he backed up a little. "What the hell? I have never seen that before." Jackie smirked at Goku, sensing his confusion. "You have much to learn, young one. If you can after-image your entire body, then individual attacks are a possibility, right?" Enlightened, Goku instantly wanted to try and improve himself even more than what he was thought possible. Initiating this time, Goku tried the after-image technique that he saw Jackie do earlier. Creating after-images wasn't just moving fast, but creating a sense of yourself at the place that you want. Goku was only able to fully replicate it after watching Jackie do it. One Goku popped out after the other, like a horde of monkeys that had just seen their meal for the day. Each one was in a different fighting pose, like an elaborate dance, shifting from one style to another with grace. Amazing. Jackie was utterly surprised to see the sheer learning capabilities of his own student as his eyes darted from the after-images before him. Doing tick-for-tack, Jackie also transformed into a blur of after-images, albeit not as smooth as Goku. He, however, made up for it with his superior experience whenever they clashed. Goku spun around and launched a Superman punch with unreal agility. Jackie sidestepped unhurriedly, having Goku's punch graze him on the rib. Jackie sent a fist to the back of Goku's head only to find air. Goku turned his head just in time to avoid his hit and promptly did a handstand. Goku lurched his 2 feet to Jackie's face. Seeing the impending souls, Jackie jumped back, feeling the wind that Goku produced. Using the momentum from his kick, Goku was able to get himself back up. Goku is this strong. I was instantly defeated and he is standing toe-to-toe with that old fool. I need to step up my game. Yamcha's self-confidence risen when Ranfan actually accepted a date with him but got shot down again when he saw Goku's monstrous strength. Lad, you are pretty good, but let's see if you can stand up to my drunken fist. Hick. Jackie suddenly started to become dizzy and swayed back and forth. Knowing this move from his grandpa, Goku also started to use the drunken fist. The very serious fighting competition turned into a slugfest of 2 drunken dudes as everyone's sweat dropped at the incredible display. How is executing the drunken fist? A kid like him shouldn't be able to use this move unless he actually experienced being drunk. Don't tell me that rascal Gohan. Hey! How are you able to use Drunken Fist? Goku started to laugh a little in his mind as he told Jackie. Isn't it only to act like an idiot and go with the flow? I see my master do that all time, so it was pretty easy. Jackie's face reddened and decided to punish Goku later for that remark, no matter how true it was. Seeing his Drunken Fist was getting nowhere, Jackie sobered up and backed up from Goku. Goku did the same. They started to go back to using martial techniques. After a while, they split up, looked battered and bruised all over from the exchanges that they made. Why, you are one incredible martial artist. You must have one amazing master. Ha ha ha. Why yeah, thanks, you too. Goku's sweat dropped at Jackie's shameless, hidden praise of himself and really wanted to finish the fight already. Once Jackie stopped laughing, he did some strange movements with his arms, like he was a mine with a wall in front of him. Noticing the move and the fact that he was getting sleepier, Goku squeezed his eyes quickly to regain his mind. Surprised at Goku's quick decisiveness, he started to sing his lullaby, hoping all was not lost. This time, Goku covered his ears to block out most sound. Gritting his teeth, Jackie abandoned his technique and sent a fist towards Goku, who was open because he was covering two of his vital senses. Noticing Jackie's presence getting closer, Goku just blindly put his arms to block his face and braced himself. He didn't open his eyes to avoid getting disoriented by a sudden intake of light. Goku got lifted off the air by Jackie's sheer strength and he landed right next to the edge, trying to regain his sight. You are the most promising martial artist I have ever had the chance witness. Unfortunately, you are still behind me in terms of strength, young one. Suddenly, Jackie's body swelled up to resemble a bodybuilder. He started to kiss his pecs and gave winks full of hearts towards some of the ladies in the crowd. How did none of the Z fighters figure out that Jackie is Master Roshi after the Kamehameha and this technique? Feeling the waves of pressure coming off of Jackie's new form, Goku decided to try out his last resort. This form is not perfected yet, but it seems like I have no choice. Ignoring Jackie's confusion, Goku looked up towards the moon that was shining brightly in the night. Consequentially, Goku started to grow hair all over his body with various monkey features replacing his old ones. Everyone's eyes bulged at the rumored great ape-roamed Mount Paozu that loomed over them like a titan of death. *T. Jackie quickly dodged a fist that came towering over him with his enhanced physique. Goku's flurry of punches started to distort the martial ring to an extreme degree as Jackie was barely dodging his death. Goku, although made considerable progress in controlling his great ape form, was unable to fully exhibit and utilize his giant body and 10x increase in strength properly. Jackie, on the other hand, had better control over his enhanced form despite the weaker power increase. Jackie started to climb up Goku's arms and attacked him with various punches and kicks like an annoying fly. Goku barely took any damage with these attacks, but the accumulation of each attack and frustration was eventually getting to his head. The scene resembled a certain gorilla versus a series of annoying attacks pelting him from the skies. Seeing Goku get wearier, Jackie went in front of the rampaging beast and started to charge up his laser. Kamehameha. Knowing that this was it, Goku tunnel-visioned on Roshi and opened his mouth to concentrated the enormous ki that dwelled inside him towards his mouth. It was like looking at a light show when the beams charged up with one side entirely red versus the engulfing blue. Ha! Goku fired when he heard Jackie finish his chant. His beam of death barreled his way through and completely decimated the entire side that Jackie was placed. All that was left behind was a shadowy afterimage that was still in the Kamehameha pose in his wake. Looking behind him, he saw a blue beam full of turtle power spiraling towards him, spelling out his defeat. Goku woke up with a splitting headache like he just woke up from a hangover. Looking around, he saw pure destruction around him from his fight with Jackie-chan. Goku laid there thinking back to his fight with Roshi and how he lost, if just barely. Seems like I lost to Master Roshi even if he was somehow stronger than Kanon. It is not too surprising, I basically had the same training as the OG Goku, so bridging that gap would have been almost impossible. Even with my newly acquired, controlled Great Ape couldn't defeat Roshi's fine technique during his enhanced state. A shadow loomed over him from behind. He turned around to see the rest of the crew with the addition of Yamcha, Pua, and Ran Fan. Bulma, leading the group, spoke up to the dazed Goku who was still lying down. That was one amazing fight, Goku. What was with that transformation earlier? I have never seen you do that before. Bulma's eyes filled with curiosity as she remembered Goku's wish while everyone else was filled with a little fear. That was a transformation I had since I can remember whenever I looked at the full moon. It's hard to control, but as you saw, it gave me a lot of power. I am still working on it. Formidable trump card there, Goku. Too bad that the great Jackie-chan was stronger than you. What a great guy. You need to keep on training to get stronger even if you can't live up to his awesomeness. Alright, let's go get some grub. Master Roshi's boasting bounced off Goku and onto everyone else as Roshi dashed over to the nearby restaurant like a famished hobo. Everyone was at a table having a good time eating to their heart's content. Yamcha was attempting to flirt with Ran Fan, shaking nervously continuously. Goku and Krillin were sharing their training regime with Bulma and Shishi while they talked about the recent events that led them to be friends. Lastly, Pua was stopping Master Roshi and O-Along from molesting their innocent, plump waitress. Hey Goku, what are you planning to do now? I am going to go and train at Master Roshi's. He actually invited Yamcha to join, but I don't know if he will, seeing how he is with Ran Fan now. Looking over, Krillin saw Ran Fan whispering something into Yamcha's ear while his entire face went red and nearly passed out. I am going to head over to Bulma's. I promised her I would do something, so now that we are not training I plan to do it. Krillin had a surprised expression while Shishi was elated hearing the news. Why, you are going to come with us to Bulma's house? I practically live there now ever since my castle burned down. Lucky bastard, he's got 2 hot chicks while I am going to be stuck with those 2 pervs over there. Krillin looked over his shoulder to find 2 giant red slap marks on both Roshi's and O-Along's face like burn marks. Goku was currently in a car with Bulma driving and Shishi in the back seat. They were hashing out the details of Goku's job at Capsule Corp. My parents don't see the point in having security with how laid back they are. Still, with all these armies popping up one after the other, they can't argue with me of hiring some personnel. Right now I have 2 other guys hired and I reserved the head guard duty to you. The other 2 seem intense and tough, so you might need to prove yourself to them. You are a kid after it's all said and done. Hey, I am a teenager. 13 years old. Could have fooled me. Anyway, as the head of security and my friend, you will be staying in the main building mostly looking over my family and I. The other 2 will be taking orders from you and looking over the science department. Goku was soaking in the details of his job until he remembered something. He turned around to look at Shishi, who was looking at the passing buildings. By the way, Shishi, you said you mostly stay with Bulma, right? Where do you sleep? For the first time on the car ride, Shishi looked at Goku straight in the eyes. I live in the guest room next to Bulma. My dad is trying to regain at least a portion of his money back to get a house. Are you going to go to school, Goku? Bulma looked at Goku with the side of her eyes. Cars were honking continuously at her, yet she pretended to not hear them. You kidding? School is cancer. Agreed. Shishi and Bulma said simultaneously. Just as they pulled up to Capsule Corporation, Bulma pulled a fast one on Goku. Hey Goku, you remember our adventure months back? Goku nodded hesitantly, not liking where this was going. Bulma started to rummage through her cupboard looking for something. Eventually, she pulled out a shiny orange ball with one single red star inside. I found a Dragon Ball. I wasn't looking but just found it accidentally one day. Old times, huh? Goku was looking at the Dragon Ball with a piece of sweat coming out of his head. Good thing they hired security. They were getting out of the car when they saw two tough-looking people at the entrance intimidating anyone who gets near. One was the definition of a buff man with ripped muscles in every aspect of his body. The other was slimmer for equally intimidating with his sharp gaze that made you feel uncomfortable. The tough-looking one and Goku stared at each other when Goku got off the vehicle. Everyone can feel the tension in the air weighing down on them as their stare went on for a minute. Eventually, the tough man spoke, stupefying everyone. The name is Bob. Goku was currently talking to Bob and his partner, Bob, about their duties. Goku assumed that both of their names were the same, but they vehemently opposed the idea. They said that their names are instead opposite of each other. Due to their persistent nagging, he had no choice to accept. Apparently, the Bobs heard that Goku placed second on the World Martial Arts Tournament before they arrived, so they already placed him as their boss despite the age and height difference. To differentiate between the Bobs, he decided to call them Tough Bob and Tall Bob in spite of their grievances towards the confusion. After talking to them, Goku went over to find Bulma and Shishi to see what they were doing. On the way, he was able to find Dr. Briefs on the side working on something small. Seeing the opportunity, Goku approached him, making his footsteps sound as to not scare the scientist. Hey, Dr. Briefs, what are you doing? Dr. Briefs doesn't look at Goku but continues tinkering with whatever is in his hands. A robot cat. Just recalibrating this machine. I can't seem to get it to work properly. Have you ever thought about making a machine out of gravity or something? Dr. Briefs finally stopped what he was doing and looked at Goku for the first time. Gravity, huh? I can see many implications for studying gravity and manipulating it, but nothing really practical for me. Besides, there are nearly no studies on gravity, so I would have nothing to go off of. Is it all right if you create a chamber of sorts that enhances the gravity inside? I think it will help me train my body a lot more effectively. Did you not hear what I just said? Even if you are Bulma's little crush, it will take years to develop any gravity-related device. It's not that I don't have an interest in it, but I have no time because I almost have my robotic cat upgraded. Dr. Brief deadpanned. He then pressed a button from his pocket and an eerie purr that sounded like something was dying. What if I told you I have something that would help? Goku was wriggling his eyebrows in Dr. Brief's direction. What? You never told me you are an alien. In the Brief's family personal lab, Dr. Briefs was observing Goku's spaceship while Bulma and Shishi were wailing on Goku for his secret. Well, it never came up. I don't have any memories of my home planet either. All my grandpa said was that I came from that pod. Bulma calmed down a little after his explanation. Well, that explains the fact that there are no species like yourself anywhere on Earth. You looked up my species. I guess you are a scientist after all. Goku asked incredulously. Bulma turned her head to hide away the blush that crept up her face. Just curious. Anyways, Goku, why did you bring it here? Shishi asked the question on both hers and Bulma's mind. Why would Goku bring his spaceship to study suddenly without telling them? Well, since the pod is from another planet, I was hoping that Bulma's dad can study it so that he can gain some insight on gravity manipulation. Indeed. Dr. Briefs came over to the little group with barely contained excitement. This spaceship is amazing. Such incredible technology contained in such a small device. With this, not only gravity technology will be a breeze, but space travel as well. Dr. Briefs dragged the now starry-eyed Bulma that finally realized the opportunity to tinker with technology from Goku's home world. Shishi and Goku's sweat dropped at the sight of drool dripping off Bulma's chin and onto Goku's pod. 29:30. Goku right now was doing push-ups with the new gravity chamber that was recently whipped up to test it out. It wasn't a large room, just big enough to house 8 people comfortably as they were still researching the optimal ratio of metal to withstand higher gravity. Wow man, this is only 2x gravity yet it feels like my body wants to kill me. It was just a week since Goku arrived at the house and they were already able to create a prototype of gravity enhancement. The Briefs were truly mad geniuses if their lack of sleep the entire week wasn't the indicator. Hey Goku, you can train in here but remember that you are still technically our bodyguard. There have been some strange movements from the Red Ribbon Army near our house so I want you to go check on it. Bulma's voice came over the intercom that blared throughout the entire room. You know, if you make a portable version, then we can knock 3 birds with 1 stone. 1 for my training, 1 for bodyguarding, and 1 for enhancing your research. Don't get your hopes up. We just made this 2x chamber so it is safe to say that a portable one, if even possible, is still a ways away. Don't worry though, we have been studying weighted clothing in conjunction with gravity, and we are prepared GI for you. It isn't as intense as 2x throughout your entire body, but it will do the trick. Goku came out of the chamber incredibly sweaty. Waiting for him were Shishi and Bulma with towels and said GI on the table. Here Goku. Shishi offered the towel which Goku accepted gratefully. After drying himself, he excused himself from the girls to try on his new apparel in the bathroom. The weighted GI doesn't give as much as a full body workout, but it does help with getting better control towards such stress. Hey, Goku. Remember that we are going shopping today. Do I have to come? Didn't you say to check the perimeter? Yes, you do. You are our bodyguard so it is your duty to guard me with your body. You can do that after we come back. You need new clothes anyway. Knowing that there was no way out, Goku stepped out of the bathroom to the expectant Shishi and Bulma. Oh, Goku. Check out my newest tech. As Bulma said that, she pressed on a little button on Shishi's watch-like accessory. Wait Bulma. Before she can talk anymore, Shishi instantly shrunk to the size of an average palm. Before she can plop down onto the ground, Bulma extended her hand to catch her. I am a genius, right? This is my new shrinking technology. She agreed to help me with the testing phase of it. Imagine all you can do with it shrinking to this size. Goku was staring at the frantic Shishi on Bulma's palm in amazement. With Goku experiencing puberty and knowledgeable of his previous world's multitude of fetishes, he blushed when he indeed imagined all you can do with it. Forgetting about those crazy thoughts, he went to find the Bobs to discuss the security while he was gone. After talking to the Bobs about protecting the older briefs, Goku set off to the shopping mall in West City with 2 teenage girls. Ong, Shishi, you would look amazing in this dress. Bulma was looking at Shishi in adoration while she slowly spun around to show how the clothes fit on her. Goku was staring at the two while they were shopping with drool from his excessive boredom. Besides his feet were bags upon bags full of clothes and makeup that Goku had to lug around. Gee Goku, how do I look? Shishi looked up shyly at Goku with anxiousness in her eyes. However, once she saw Goku's dozing expression, a fire suddenly lit inside of her. She went up to him and thonked him in the head loud enough for the whole mall to hear. Even if you are bored, you are still Bulma's bodyguard, so act like it. Just as Goku became more alert, he sensed something headed their way at extreme speeds. Goku flung his hand to redirect the rocket that was about to hit the store. The mall went into a panic at the sudden violence as the rocket exploded next to a bench instead. Move out of the way. Official Red Ribbon business. We won't hesitate to use force. Strolling in the area was an old hillbilly, a wolf standing on 2 legs, and their leader, a red-haired playboy. Despite his red hair, black trench coat, and blue shirt and pants, his name was Colonel Silver from the Red Ribbon Army, if the red bandanas were an indicator. Hey Colonel, Commander Black had told us the Dragon Ball moved to this section of the mall. Silver wasn't paying attention to the hillbilly that was explaining to him what he already knew, but to the destruction that the rocket he ordered land astray from its destined path. Looking towards the source, he saw a small kid giving him a glare that made him shiver down to his spine. Silver approached the kid that was protecting 2 shocked girls. The kid's gaze told him that he was special and knew about the Dragon Balls. Wonder what led him to that conclusion. Hey, kid, my team and I looking for an orange ball with red stars in the middle. Have you seen anything like it? We will compensate you sweetly. Goku, without any fanfare, launched a punch towards Silver. Unable to match his speed, let alone see Goku's fist approaching, Silver went flying onto a nearby fountain. Everyone's eyes bulged out of their sockets with what just went down. The hillbilly and wolf started to fire bullets and rockets from their firearms in a desperate panic to make sense of the situation. Catching every bullet and redirecting the rockets towards the ground, Goku was able to make sure no one got hurt. Using the bullets, he threw the bullets towards the henchmen to instantly knock them out. Gee Goku, that was the Red Ribbon Army. It is the largest army right now on Earth. Do you know what you have done? The army obviously knew that we have the Dragon Balls. It wasn't coincidental that they came here. We need to head to your home and check the radar. If they are gathering them, then it is for nothing good. We have to stop them. Seeing his point, Bulma and Shishi agreed, even though they wanted to stay double the number of items they had. Knowing their thoughts, Goku sighed internally out of relief. Phew, any more bags plus this weighted armor could have killed me. Arriving at the Capsule Corp, they find that it was smoking a little from the back. They hurriedly ran to the front door to see it smashed open. Lying there in a pool of his own blood with multiple bullet impalements was Tough Bob. Running up to see if he was okay, Goku noticed that he was barely alive due to his toughness. Seeing Goku, alive with the two girls, Bob sobered up a little to impart the last message to Goku. They have briefs. Bob. Bob. Bob was coughing blood while he was talking. Before he can finish, the light in his eyes dimmed and he officially left this world. Bob. Although I only knew you for like a week, Bob. Don't worry about him, he was on death row anyway. He apparently convinced my gullible dad to let him accept the job so he can delay the inevitable. Goku and Shishi looked at Bulma with amazement with her lack of compassion for Bob. He was literally dying right before them and she had the gall to insult him. Have some heart. Moving past Bob, they arrived that the laboratory was the smoke was coming from. Inside were signs of a struggle and various machines had bullets holes in them. Making sure that none of the machines were going to explode, the gang started to look around for any clues. They soon found the dragon radar smashed to tiny little pieces with a hammer next to it. They all knew what had happened once they saw the wreckage and radar. The Red Ribbon Army had the intention of getting the dragon radar only to have Dr. Brief smash it last second. They then kidnapped him for his knowledge about the radar. I am going to get your parents back, Bulma. I will drop you guys off at Rosh's before heading off. I can't let you go, they are my parents. How will you find them anyways? You need my help. Yeah. This is something we need to do together, we can't just sit on the sidelines. Knowing that Bulma will not recreate the dragon radar unless she got what she wanted, Goku allowed them to come. They clambered onto Bulma's plane with Shishi behind the wheel. Bulma grabbed the broken dragon radar and started to rebuild it from scratch. They headed off to Master Rosh's place in the meantime to recollect and plan. Just outside the turtle house, Shishi landed the aircraft on the front lawn, blowing all grass in its wake. Shishi ran up to the door and knocked on it while Goku and Bulma were bringing the tools and machinery to build a new radar. Master Roshi. It is Shishi, Goku, and Bulma. Please let us inside, we don't have much time. Within a second, Master Roshi flung the door open. With the speed of the door flying open, you can see Master Roshi's boxers flying wildly along with it. Shishi's face got beet red, especially listening to the yoga exercises on the television behind him. Hiya Missy. Roshi's casual reply was the final straw for Shishi. With no hesitation, Shishi slapped Roshi right through the turtle house, skipping across the water like a rock. Ignoring the flying Roshi, Goku and Bulma went past the murmuring Shishi that was staring at her palm and into the house. They used the table that was situated in the middle of the room and started to do finishing touches on the radar. Dash. That radar was more smashed than we thought, took longer than I expected. That was Bulma, 1 hour after arriving at the turtle house. During this time, the others were just doing miscellaneous jobs to help her out. All right, let's head out, what does the radar say? Everyone crowded around the dragon radar to see the readings once Bulma activated it. The radar beeped twice before the map was displayed, showing one blinking dot at the center. Zooming out more, everyone saw a cluster of dots with another lone dot blinking far away from them. Alright, well, if the Red Ribbon Army is collecting the Dragon Balls, the cluster is probably them. Along easily deduced the obvious after looking at the cluster of 4 that was in one spot. If that is the case, then this person with 1 ball will be in danger. Bulma pointed at the other lone dot in the distance with a worried expression. Wait, didn't you guys say that there are supposed to be 7 Dragon Balls? If you count the 4 that the Red Ribbon Army has, ours, and the other lone one, then that is 6. She asked with a confused expression. Although Goku and Bulma told them about the Dragon Balls, the idea that a magical wish-making dragon will come before them after talking to a bunch of balls made them sound insane if, to say the least. Goku pressed the zoom button on the radar, however, no matter how much they zoomed, they still couldn't find the last one. I guess we will come to that after we deal with the Red Ribbon Army. They are the immediate threat right now. After everyone agreed, Goku was trying to convince everyone that he himself was enough. We are fighting the Red Ribbon Army, the only one that will come out safely would be Master Roshi. Goku was trying his best not to hurt the girls' feelings. Even though what he was saying had a lot of sense, the girls still could not accept that they would get left out on a potential adventure. You guys are making me use my final move. Intense staring ensued between the three as they looked at each other in anticipation. Goku inhaled deeply, puffing up his chest. Sweat started beading off both Shishi's and Bulma's face as they were dying in anticipation. He blew as hard as he could to create a gust of wind whirl inside the Kame house. Before they can react, Shishi's skirt and Bulma's shirt started to blow up to their face, revealing scandalous material. Hearts started to pop out of Oolongs and Roshes as they were slowly dying from blood loss from their nose. They did a dive toward their clothes, girl hoping to revel in their warmth. Shishi and Bulma were too busy beating the snot out of the two perverts to notice Goku sneaking out with the radar. Once he was outside, Goku punctured a hole on the engine, covering him in smoke. Nimbus. He could see the Nimbus cloud racing toward him in the distance when the door slammed open. Bulma and Shishi had a death in their eyes as they raced towards Goku, leaking lethal energy that made the grass and flowers shrink in fear. Before he could be torn apart, Goku leaped toward his savior, landing on the cloud before the claws of death could reach him. You better not show your face again or I will kill you, Goku. Dash. After a couple of hours, Goku approached a small teepee that had some destruction around it. When he was about to land, he could hear some fighting from the distance. Going towards the noise, he can see a tall tanned man beating down another individual. This individual was tall and blonde with a perfect complexion with distant anguish across his face. The tanned man was winning with a great advantage until the fight took a weird turn. The tall man stopped moving, allowing the other man to hit him in the face, making him fly through a rock. Knowing that the two people were Bora, Appa's father, and General Blue, Goku rushed toward them with the intention to help. The blonde man noticed Goku approached them and sneered. "Halt, you brat. This is official Red Ribbon Army business. Scram unless you want to die." He then turned back to face his opponent to finish his job. Goku leaped toward him and extended his foot to the back of General Blue. Cracks of bones could be heard as Blue could feel his spine have permanent damage from just one attack. He face-blunted on the dirt, sliding for a couple of meters. Struggling to stand up, he looked a little hysterical, whipping the dirt off his face. "You monster. My perfect face. You know how much work I put into this." Before he can rant any longer, Goku landed directly on his head, caving his face even more to end his life. Bora stood up after shaking off the mind control and thanked Goku for his help. "Thank you so much, young one. These people keep coming for this shiny ball. It truly leaves me confused at its importance." "That's a Dragon Ball. It can grant enormous power for those who can gather all 7 of them at the same time. As long as you have the ball, they will stop at nothing to obtain it. No wonder." Goku requested the Dragon Ball for safekeeping. Although they haven't met for long, Bora could already tell this young man's character due to Kintown. He gave him the ball and started talking about the tower that was beside them. This tower is Kirin's tower and it stretches towards the heavens. It is said that whoever climbs it and drinks the sacred water will have their strength grow exponentially. My family has been guarding it for generations. As he said that, a little boy peeked out from Bora's leg to observe the strange boy that appeared. I wonder how much stronger I can get from climbing this tower. He knew this tower's true test and how little it would help him compared to others. He still decided to do it anyways for any possible power increase. And thus, he began to climb Kirin's tower. Red Ribbon Army Base. HMPH, it turns out that Brief isn't the one that created the radar as our informative said but his daughter. Although his research in gravity can prove to be of great use if we can extract the information out of him. I will get to it. A short stubby man with an eye patch on his right eye was talking to someone on his phone. He was facing the wall seemingly admiring a picture of himself staring at the same picture. A narcissistic inception. When a tall black man entered the room, he finished his conversation with the man on the phone and turned around in what he thought was a dramatic fashion to face his subordinate. Commander Black, any reports? We haven't heard from General Blue for a few hours since we sent him to get the other ball. We can only assume that he is terminated or MIA. The tall man stood straight like a rod when talking to his superior despite the height difference. The other two Dragon Ball owners met up with each other. Hopefully, they will fight for the ball so we can swoop in for the leftovers. However, both of them are somewhat strong, so I have taken your advice and hired Dao Pai Pai. A message came from Commander from his phone as he said that. Dao Pai Pai has come to visit, sir. I have sent him towards you with a guide. A female secretary spoke in a monotone fashion. Thanks, send in Captain Yellow as well. I have a job for him as well. The secretary was unable to leave her emotions out of her voice as she choked on her spit a little at the order. However, she knew better and gave a curt reply. I understand, he will be up right away. Facing each other, a yellow tiger was sweating bullets when facing the man before him. Wearing a GI that had the words "kill you" sewn on the back, supposed to make him look intimidating. Everything was ruined when people noticed his braid that ended with a bow. No one could mock him because he was the most famous assassin in the world, has the highest completion rate. One wouldn't escape with his life if that happened. Remember, Captain Yellow, if you are able to beat Dao Pai Pai or survive, I will oversee your desertion and allow you to have all the tiger ladies that you want. As tempting as the offer was, Captain Yellow knew that he wouldn't be escaping alive. This is my opponent. I don't even need to use my hands. I will use my tongue to kill him. Unable to take this humiliation, Yellow rushed him like the ferocious tiger that he was. Tao Pai Pai looked at him in disdain and slightly moved to the left to avoid the rush. He stuck out his tongue and planted it through Captain Yellow's neck. Yellow stayed stiff for a second before falling with no life in his eyes. Tao Pai Pai was looking smug at his achievement before Commander Red burst his bubble. It is nice and all that you can kill people with your tongue, but why would you want to? I mean, I can guarantee that Captain Yellow hasn't washed for months. No sooner did Red said that, Dao vomited his lunch out, regretting his life decisions. This tower is crazy. It has only been a few hours and my muscles are so sore. Even though this weighted clothing will help me train, I can't help but think I would have done the first run without it. Knowing that Tao Pai Pai was approaching, Goku made double time and started climbing the tower in earnest while trying to conserve his stamina on the way. Just before night came, Goku was able to see the top. Goku was literally creating rain from his sweat as he looked at the top with a hungry expression. He finally scrambled onto the top and lay down gasping for breath. That was crazy. I feel like my entire body is trying to kill me with pulses of pain. Advancing even more up the tower, he soon came before a standing cat. Hello, young one. Incredibly impressive that you were able to climb with tower despite your small size in a little more than half a day. Corinne was truly impressed with the promising child that came before him. This kind of potential is one of the kind that he is lucky to see. Looking at Goku more, Corinne could see a strange light in his eyes that made him question him. He started to use his ability to peer into his heart. But before he can fully process what information he just got, Goku leaped at him as fast as lightning. Cat. Goku then proceeded to tackle and pet the struggling cat. Corinne could feel himself lose his dignity slowly as he started to listen to the animal instincts that told him to purr. Corinne finally peeled the relentless Goku off his back. He shook his body a few times to get rid of all the spots where Goku smoothed all of his frizzly hair. You little rascal. Doing that to me, Corinne, what do you take me for? Corinne then read Goku's heart once more and noticed that Goku already knew that he was the esteemed Corinne despite being a cat. I got to hand it to you, little one, you already knew I was Corinne. How can that be? Realizing who he was talking to, Goku raised his mental guard as best as he can. He was on edge because the being in front of him might be able to discern his true nature. When Corinne peered into his heart, all he could see is his thoughts and nature. Everything that was related to Goku's previous life and the future was covered by a green haze. Interesting, I will talk to Kami about this situation. I came here for the sacred water that supposedly increases my strength. Goku slightly bowed to Corinne, showing some respect to the person who literally grows life or death on trees. I see, you are seeking greater strength for future opponents that might threaten the livelihood of your friends. Although he saw this coming, he could not help but feel as if he is naked in front of this cat. The personal mind is the only safe space that should be available to an individual. It being invaded, although at a surface level, feels extremely uncomfortable and makes one shrink in fear. Don't worry, I do not abuse my power or look at more personal things. They are of no use to me. The water is right there. Take it and drink it. Not worrying about Corinne anymore, his eyes darted toward the exquisite jar on top of the fountain. Climbing up, he was able to reach the jar before the scripted attack occurred. Corinne was studying Goku's face as he was already in an aggressive stance. You don't seem too surprised. If it was that easy, everyone would be able to become strong. Sometimes, a half-truth is the best answer, and it did indeed fool Corinne. Staring at each other like a Mexican standoff, they both sprinted at the same time to the water. Corinne was able to launch a preemptive strike through his staff, making Goku retreat with a flip. Just as Corinne was going to acquire the water, Goku ran up behind him and launched a strike. Corinne was barely able to dodge while making the jar sway intensely. Not giving him any time to restabilize himself, Goku continued to chase him, making him more and more unbalanced as time went. When Corinne first clashed with Goku, he was able to sense that Goku had an unnatural decrease in speed. With further bouts, he was finally able to notice that he was wearing weighted clothing. Even though he didn't know how much weight he was carrying, just any decent weight makes him even more of a monster. Who is this kid? As Corinne was thinking this, Goku was really feeling the weight now more than ever. He knows that he would have been able to catch Corinne already if he just took off his clothes, but that wouldn't be challenging, would it? There are two ways to beat a mind-reading cat. The first is to punch and kick without thinking so that he wouldn't be able to see through the next move. The second is to go so fast that even if he knows the next move, he won't be able to stop it. Goku was trying to achieve both requirements. The first was extremely hard because, in a fighting environment, action and reaction play an important role in what you do. Slowly but surely, the incredible pursuit was able to bring the sacred water to the edge of the staff. To ensure that he achieves one of his objectives today, he purposely scratched himself on the fountain. Krin just thought that he just made a mistake during his chase as he was putting his entire focus on shaking the ravaging monkey of his tail. After 1 full hour of Krin being stressed beyond belief, Goku launched a kick to the base of the staff, making the jar pop out of the staff. Goku and Krin did a leap to with their arms outstretched like it was a baby falling. Krin thought he was being sneaky and maneuvered his tail to wrap around Goku's torso. Goku, however, countered with his tail and wrapped it around Krin's tail. He then used all his strength that he was been cultivating with his tail and threw Krin into the fountain. Krin was barely recovering from his daze when he saw that Goku had the jar raised in his hand like it was a holy relic. He stood up to congratulate the monster that has been spawned on Earth. "Good work, you can drink it now." Goku took off the lid and started chugging the water down. He closed his eyes and bared through the metallic taste. That water tasted horrible. Of course, the supreme water really was just tap water from the beginning. The adventure up here and me dodging you were the real test. Yeah, but could you have gotten filtered water? Smart water at least. I tried so hard for this awful tasting water. You little brat, who do you think I am? Kami. Just be grateful that I went down to the mortals and grabbed water for you to drink. Goku walked up to the angry Krin and poked his cheek. Someone's a grumpy kitty. Krin could not take it anymore and screech. He proceeded to scratch the hell out of Goku's innocent face. Anyways, that was a great workout. You can stay here for the night. Have this senzu bean, it will be able to fill you up for 10 days. Krin threw the paw scratched filled Goku a single green bean. Looking at it up close, Goku really could not tell the difference between this mystical all-powerful bean and a normal one. Popping it in his mouth, Goku felt like something was expanding inside of him, filling his stomach and energy incredibly quickly. Touching his face and the place that he scratched himself, he felt that wounds close up as like nothing had happened. Wow, you didn't tell me these senzu beans were able to heal me up. What do you mean heal you up? Krin was looking away when Goku ate the bean, so when he turned back, he was surprised, to say the least, that all of his hard work venting his frustration was gone. What? I've had these for millennia and didn't know that they had this effect. The more you know. These are incredibly valuable then. Why yeah. You should go and sleep. As they both got ready for bed, Krin could not help but feel some regret. I should not have thrown away all those beans years ago. Oh well, it's not like anyone I know will be in so many life-threatening situations that would warrant that many beans. I will just save them from now on. With that thought trying to remove his guilt, Krin dozes off, having a nightmare of a giant senzu bean eating him. Waking up early in the morning, Goku immediately said goodbye to Krin to head down to the base before Dao showed up. How are you going to go down? Looking back at the expressionless cat, he then did a backward thrust fall to the ground. Well, I won't miss him. Goku felt the wind on his face as he dived headfirst towards the ground, enjoying the pressure. Before he hit the ground and splat like a mosquito, he called for Kintown to save his life. Kintown matched his pace and slammed into him to catch him. Goku felt like he sunk into a fluffy marshmallow, negating any pain. Goku came in at the perfect time because one could see a pillar flying in from a distance with a human on top. The pillar almost landed on Bora and Appa before Goku pushed them out of the way. "You've saved me once again." "Thank you, Goku." Bora had to thank Goku once more before addressing the strange man's locomotion. "Who are you? You nearly killed us with your pillar." "I am Dao Pai Pai, the greatest assassin in the world. I am contracted by the Red Ribbon Army to take the Dragon Balls that are in your possession." Preposterous. Goku was right. "You will never leave us alone as long as we have the Dragon Balls. I have to take him on, Goku. It is my duty to protect the sacred land of Korin." "No, you don't, Bora. Nothing is worth more than your life, not even your pride. You couldn't defeat the last person, so what makes you think you can beat him?" Guk. Goku had no choice but to be harsh and stern in this regard. Otherwise, he will insist and rush to his death to no avail. Bora's pride took a direct hit because he knew that everything Goku was saying was correct. "If you don't back down now, I will force you to." Seeing that Goku was serious, Bora couldn't even be mad as he knew Goku was doing it for his own good. Finally complying, Bora took up her and backed down to watch the fight from afar. "HMPH, sending a kid to fight me. This is a stain on my reputation. I will finish you off in 1 second with my Tounge to redeem this humiliation." Dao launched toward Goku to kill him with his Tounge like it was his fetish or something. Disgusted, Goku used his right hand to slap him away. A little dazed and full of confusion from the young man's strength, Dao still had his Tounge sticking out. Goku jumped up and hammered both of his hands straight down on Dao, making him cleanly slice his Tounge out. Copious amounts of blood spurted out from Dao's Tounge as he crawled into a fetal position while holding his mouth. Everyone around had the shivers in their spines at what kind of pain Dao was feeling at the moment. "Gee Goku, I think that was a little too harsh." He basically ate his own Tounge. Appa was looking at Goku with a hint of disgust. Think about it, he boasted about killing me with his tongue. That tongue probably saw more of people's brains than anything else. In a way, it avenged all those who have been tongued by him. I see. Appa really started to question his morals as Bora just facepalmed at the whole situation. Seeing that Dao started to shed tears from the pain, Goku decided to put him out of his misery with a Kamehameha. Seeing the Kamehameha coming, he half-heartedly put up a defense against it. Originally, he thought that Goku was weaker than him and only hit him because he underestimated him. He was too busy grieving his own tongue because he wouldn't be able to boast to people about killing others with his tongue anymore. Only when he felt the heat of the Kamehameha up close did he realize his mistake. However, it was already too late as the Kamehameha disintegrated Dao before he could do anything. Before he died, however, his entire life flashed before his eyes. All the people he had killed with his tongue and the enjoyment he had from it. Ugh. Well, that was an experience. Finally. This stupid engine is fixed. So much oil leaked out that we had to get more, and someone is a stupid hermit. Bulma had short shorts and a tank top on her that she picked up from her house when getting supplies for the plane. That's the reason why you asked to borrow the spinning turtle baby Gamera. You know I have a submarine that you could have borrowed oil from. Roshi was currently twirling his stash while goggling Bulma like he was inspecting her. That didn't last long as she hit him over the head, making a huge shiny bump appear on his already shiny head. Bulma's head magically got bigger as she berated Roshi. You could have told us that sooner instead of watching that yoga show, you pervert. Well, the plane is working now. Did you forget that it's only Goku that is going for those maniacs? If we don't hurry, no matter how strong he is, he will die. She was having a mental breakdown worrying about Goku. She was pacing back and forth the entire time. She was stressing out because she was useless in the process of fixing the airplane. When Bulma left to go get the oil, Krillin brought Yamcha over in his rowboat so that he could train under Master Roshi. Of course, like the loyal dog, sorry cat that Pua was, he also came with Yamcha. She informed them of the situation and they instantly agreed to help out. Then instantly left to join Roshi in watching the yoga show, making she question why her current life. I know Goku is strong, but this is reckless even for him. Krillin was snacking on leftover popcorn that they made while trying to fit in the cramped airplane. His face was getting smushed by a large sports bag that had a rough texture. He had an annoyed expression on his face as it was drilling into his bald head. Launch, why did you pack so much ammunition? Couldn't you do less? Less. Launch pointed the submachine gun from over the bag to the bald monk's forehead. We are actually going to war with the largest army in the world and you want less. You aren't from the criminal world, but they are in even the toughest criminal's nightmare. Even you. As soon as he finished speaking, the gun filled even deeper into his head, making him sweat buckets onto the floor of the plane. I don't fear anyone. Got it, Baldy? Krillin turned pale white and slowly nodded his head as everyone on the plane simultaneously agreed in their head to not mess with Launch. Ever. I repeat, a little kid on a flying cloud is shooting lasers at us. We need reinforcement, The caller on the other side suddenly lost connection. The phone was on speaker in the middle of a room surrounded by people in uniform. One person couldn't hold it in anymore and burst out laughing on top of his lungs. Once he did it, all the so-called tension in the room disappeared and everyone started laughing. Man, what is with his joke? Station 7 is getting worse and worse every year. I guess the absurdity of the joke made it funny. I know, right? Seriously. A kid flying on a cloud shooting lasers. Who is going to believe that? Tom could make a better joke than that, and his soul was already sucked in by his wife. You got to admit though, them disconnecting at the end was pretty good. They would have to smash the phone in order to disconnect like that. Sucks to be the one to report that to Commander Black. Everyone sighed at the same time, getting a good laugh at Station 7's antics. All the guards in the room started to discuss what to prank to pull next until someone barged into a room looking frantic. We just spotted a little kid on a cloud coming towards us. Someone from Station 7 survived their annihilation and told us of this threat. Everyone looked at each other confused. Station 7 was really telling the truth. That's impossible, they have fully grown men with years of life ventured. How could a little kid end their life and career like they were worthless ants? Before the main HQ's guards could process the information and get into their defensive positions, the entire base was rocketed by an explosion. Everyone started to scramble around in their positions before another explosion occurred above them. The ceiling started to fall down on them, burying them in rubble to be forgotten by everyone. Above the HQ, Goku was just throwing key ball after key ball at the buildings that are in his sights. He was even doing a finger gun like a video game. Totally indifferent to the enemy's lives as he reaped one after another. He learned how to do key balls during the week that he was free in Bulma's house. Waiting for the gravity chamber, he learned in the inner workings of the Kamehameha more and finally was able to learn how to manipulate ki independently without the need of a fixed structure like the Kamehameha. Ki blast after ki blast, he finally reached the main building. After killing the waves of literally cannon fodder with each punch, he finally made it to a lobby. Entering the elevator, he pressed the button that led him to the top floor. Listening to the elevator music, he started to really think about his life as Goku so far. As 13, only 3 more years before he turned 16. The age that he died when he was still Kris. And soon after that, he would live longer as Goku than he did as Kris. Moving past his possible existential crisis, he finally arrived at the top floor. He felt sad that he was leaving the relaxing elevator music, but there were more important things to do. Like pressing the bottom floor button to hear the relaxing music once more. After going up and down several times, he officially arrived on the top floor before a tall, muscular, black man. He had a vein popping out of his head as he squeezed out the words that were on the tip of his tongue. "You sure took your time, didn't you?" He looked like he was about to burst. In fact, if he held it any longer, he surely would have an aneurysm. Yeah, you could say that my experience was elevating with every press of the button. That was the final straw as Commander Black lunged at Goku with a killing intent that literally covered the entire world. If he didn't release his rage, he would die from overload. However, all the bravado came to a stop as Goku put his fist through his chest. His fist came out the other side coated in a velvet liquid. He pulled back from the sticky situation and started to wipe the blood off his hand with Commander Black's suit. It's not like he was going to use it anymore. He looked up and saw Commander Black's indignant face at the fate of himself and the organization that he basically built. It all ended with one pubescent child. Leaving the man to his peaceful and unregretful life, Goku took out the machine from Commander Black's capsule inside his pocket. He took the rocket from it and when he got high enough, decimated the rest of the HQ. Strangely enough, he never encountered a certain cyborg/android making scientist throughout his whole trip. Arriving near the base, the Dragon crew milled out of the plane and started up a plane. Bulma was the first to suggest an idea. "I got a plan, ready. We use along as bait, you know. Maybe they are in the mood for roasted pig." Objection. After careful planning and coordination, the Council of Idiots officially came to an all-out brawl on how to handle the most powerful army on Earth. Soon enough, Pua spotted a flying cloud in the air as if clouds already didn't fly. Everyone did the standard procedure, they tucked and rolled. In the air, Goku questioned the sanity of the people before him. "Hey, guys. It's me." Everyone stopped and looked up. They all felt like they were in a dream when Goku came back alive from the gauntlet. Everyone was pestering him and congratulating him on the achievement that he was done. To shut them up, he poured out the Dragon Balls that he had on his pouch to the floor. "Wow, so these are the Dragon Balls. They look mystical." Yamcha and the rest picked up a Dragon Ball to inspect it. This was their first time seeing such a powerful object. Each Dragon Ball was taken with astute curiosity. As I said earlier, there are only 6 Dragon Balls. Bulma. "Yeah, this is strange, the radar doesn't show it on screen. It probably means that the last one is eaten or something." "Eaten? So what now? Do we need for nature to take its course? Let nature take its course. Do we even need to summon the dragon? What would everyone wish for? Right now, everyone's life was going well. No problem that an eternal dragon should fix. Well, if it's a problem that you are talking about, I would actually like a big British English. All three girls in the party whacked along over the head for the comment. When they saw Roshi also have a perverted face, they also beat him until his face was unrecognizable. So no one has any wishes. I would like to make a wish. It's about more information about my race. Bulma studied Goku a bit before answering him. Fine. I know you are trustworthy. We might as well get the last one since we have the other 6. It's just, how would we find the last one? Well, I know someone who can track it for us. Bulma gave Roshi the face that makes him rethink any decision to talk to her at all. Her name is Fortunatella Barber. She can divine the object that one seeks. She would be able to find the Dragon Ball no matter where it is. Fortune telling. Will it work? Bulma was looking very skeptical. With her science nature, it was very hard to believe that fortune-telling magic actually existed. But a monkey kid that can grow to a 15-feet giant is possible, so what isn't? Of course it will work, she is my sister after all. In an abandoned basement. A tall lanky man was dragging a short stubby older gentleman through his arms. Why are you doing this? Goku will come and get you, you saw how strong he is. When Goku's name was mentioned, the lanky man shivered from the horror that name brings. I didn't mean for this to happen. That monster was too powerful. Why you say that he will come for me and kill me when he sees that I have a hold of you, but he will already come for me after what I already did. So instead of you being another cause for him to kill me, you are now a chance for me to live as long as I have you hostage. You be ****. You will not get away with this, my daughter and Goku will remember me and you will suffer a horrible death. Meanwhile back to the Dragon crew. I can't help but feel like I am missing something. Goku looked around to make sure everything is accounted for. He couldn't shake the uneasy feeling but chalked it up to the threats that he still feels unprepared for. Everyone climbed back onto the plane while Shishi and hopped on with Goku to make more space on the plane. Traveling for a couple of hours was mind-numbing, to say the least in the airplane. At least for with Shishi with Goku, there was more space. But Yamcha couldn't help but whistle in a tune in defiance to the awkward silence. Finally landing next to an elongated line leading into a building, the entire crew milled out of the aircraft. Soon after they arrived, a strange-looking spirit passes next to them. Are you all here together for the fortune of the Fortunatella Barber? Yes sir, oops, person, ***t, ghost. Laughing quite creepily, the wisp didn't respond to Bulma's blunder and just told the crew to stay in line and wait. All the people in the line were exaggeratedly muscular with intimidating gazes etched across their brow. They looked like trained bodybuilders the way they started to flex their muscles when new arrivals came in. What's with all these muscular guys waiting in line? Are you sure this isn't a bodybuilding gym or something and not a fortune-telling shop? Yeah, everyone here is like muscular peacocks ready to show their muscles on a moment's notice. Krillin and Yamcha felt like they were waiting in the line of the World Martial Arts Tournament just by feeling the heavy pressure that was asserted by the people in front of them. Before they could indulge in their worries more, a rich-looking couple walked out of the house looking quite smug and happy. So that's where I left my solid gold, diamond-embroiled Gucci purse with a bell delphin engravings on it. I might have just killed myself if I couldn't find my ancestral heirloom, let alone what our friends would have done if they found out we lost it. I know, right? They would have ghosted us and called us fake. My reputation would not be able to stand it. The couple laughed at their fortune for knowing a fortune teller and left to find their family heirloom. I don't know, those people don't seem like fighters to me. Although I do question their sanity. Everyone couldn't have agreed more, even Roshi and Oolong would not refute that fact. All right, next in line. The soft whispers of the wisp entered everyone's ears, telling the next group to come. The soft voice was instantly drowned out by the vigorous yelling that the fighters in the front were proclaiming. No sooner than 5 minutes, they walked back out looking like they were involved in a brutal murder scene. No one was spared, as they all had gauzes or canes to help them with their injuries as they left the house with an extreme look of injustice. Everyone in the crew started to sweat profusely, instantly regretting their life choices. Oolong even started to pee in his pants, but no one really noticed it with the grotesque amount of sweat he leaked out. Next. The previous soft voice now sounded like a voice from hell that was calling upon their doom to enter hell. Everyone's legs were stiff, scared to move one more step, thinking that they were going to throw the gauntlet and wind up beat up like those that came before. Of course, the only ones that were more nonchalant were Master Roshi and Goku. They nodded to each other before dragging the rest towards the entrance. They soon were presented before an old granny levitating on a crystal orb. The instant that they had eye contact with each other, Roshi and Baba could be seen having sparks flying through the air like they were tangible. "Brother, I see that you are still the old bag of bones of pervertedness incarnate." Roshi, to prove her point, was staring at the bottom of the blue launch that accompanied them halfway through the journey to Baba's shop. Looking back at her and her establishment, he instantly fired back. "You are still the old hag that will haggle people of their money with your greed." The sibling relationship was as great as one could hope for. "All right, lust and greed, enough of your antics, can we go back to the matter at hand?" Locating an object. Goku's words awoke everyone from their fear. They felt quite ashamed that they were showing fear in front of an old granny like Baba, but were quite thick-skinned about it. "You want me to locate an object? 10 million zeni up front. 10,000,000. Everyone jumped in fright at the price tag that was offered. Everyone except Bulma, of course. "I can pay for it, but how do I know that you are real and not a scam? HMPH, doubting my abilities in my own establishment. If you're rich, just test me then." Bulma's skeptical nature towards the mystical arts got the better of her. She reached into her back pocket to grab her wallet. Inside it, she took out a silver card and gave it to the floating granny. "Sorry, I don't accept card. Only cash." Baba was rubbing her 2 fingers in a money-grubbing motion. Grumbling, Bulma rang up her household so that her dad could deliver money to her. Rang after rang, Bulma suddenly remembered something. Her face instantly transformed into one of shock and disbelief. "Goku. I just remembered my father. Did you see him?" It was Goku's turn to feel regret and shame. He was so focused on the timeline that he completely forgot the changes that he made. In fact, he didn't even check who he killed in the buildings. "We need to go back and check. He probably was sent to a special facility because of his status, so he has a high chance of being alive. Looks like we will have to postpone getting the final Dragon Ball." "Not necessarily, we can split into 2 teams, one who can get the Dragon Ball and the other to find Dr. Briefs. For all we know, Dr. Briefs might be also in the hands of the person who has the other Dragon Ball." Master Roshi refuted Krillin and suggested going to 2 teams. "But we will waste a lot of time going to get the money needed in the first place. You don't only need money to get clairvoyance reading from me." This time, Barber refuted Shishi's reasonable claim and pursued her own agenda. You will fight against 5 fighters. If you win all of them, I will give you a reading on what you need. Everyone took her words into consideration, and the risk of splitting the team would hold. Goku saw his chance to redeem himself. I will stay and fight alone. You guys are going to need all the eyes and fighters you need in case the enemy is stronger than expected. On the other hand, could fail and still try again later or pay later. Are you sure you can do this? I doubt that this will be a walk in the park. Goku himself is enough. I will stay and help him. Oolong voiced his concern, but Roshi again voiced his opinion. Everyone looked at Roshi in surprise, including Barber. She was having an increasing interest in the young man before her. All right, we will go our separate ways. Good luck, Goku. Everyone said goodbye to Goku and Roshi and left in their airplane. Barber led the Turtle Hermit practitioners to the stadium to face his new adversaries. Fall into the lake and you lose. Since it is you by yourself, you will face opponent after opponent until you drop or die. You don't have any confidence that I will win. Nope. She popped the P in an aggravating manner to really show her stance. She called up her first fighter to the stadium by the name of Dracula Man. A bat flew into the stadium from the castle. He then transformed into a very skinny man with boxing gloves and sharp teeth. His bones that show and pale skin made one skin crawl just by looking at him. Battle begin. Goku, Dracula Man could transform into a bat, increasing his speed, and can suck your blood. Roshi was giving Goku advice so he wouldn't get blindsided. After all, this was a 5v1, so it was only fair. Goku got into an aggressive stance and threw a flurry of punches towards Dracula Man. As if the boxing gloves were just decoration, Dracula Man only dodged. Soon enough, he couldn't take the pressure anymore. Once he saw an opening, he retreated and turned back into a bat. With his enhanced speed, he flew circles around Goku, who was trying to keep track of him. Dracula then appeared behind Goku with his mouth wide open and ready to suck some delicious blood. Just as Dracula clamped down, the figure of Goku faded out of existence. The forcefulness of Dracula's chomp came back to bite him as his teeth vibrated from the harsh impact. Goku took this chance and swung behind him to launch a fist to Dracula's head. Dracula flipped a few times before landing on the lake face first. Next, Goku felt the impatience well inside him. He really wanted help in the search to find Dr. Briefs, and he felt like it was his responsibility to take care of him. Barber only snorted at Goku's arrogant attitude. Let's see him keep that attitude at the last fight. Calling in the next fighter, Goku could only hear footsteps approach him, and it came to a sudden stop a short space in front of him. Battle begin. Goku, this is the Invisible Man. Don't rely on your sight as you fight him. Knowing that this was another way to hone his senses, Goku closed his eyes. Roshi silently approved Goku's decision to make this fight another way to get stronger. Goku could hear the very soft footsteps of the Invisible Man as he approached to attack. Each fist sent out followed a small gust of wind that disturbed the air around him. Moving in discretion to these small irregularities, Goku dodged his first punch. Everyone stood still for a second, not believing what they were seeing. The Invisible Man was beet red from the embarrassment that his attack missed, not that anyone would know. Invisible Man then did a sweep kick followed by another kick toward Goku's sternum. Goku dodged both attacks and sent a fist of his own, landing it squarely on the opponent's chest. Seeing that her fighter is at a disadvantage, Barber started singing. All the class in the vicinity started to break from the horrible singing that was projected from her mouth. What Barber didn't know that Goku wasn't only using sound to perceive the movement of his enemy. He was actually using a form of ki sensing to see the invisible man. Barber's horrendous voice was shoved in the back of Goku's mind as he jumped and accurately landed a kick right on the invisible man's chest. He flew past the lake and skidded across the dirt. Opening his eyes, he stared straight at Barber with determination in his eyes. Next. This was the first time that Barber truly saw Goku in a different light. Defiant that a Soul Kid would be able to defeat all her fighters, she quickly ushered him into the second arena. We need to switch arenas for the next fights. To the Devil's Toilet, follow me. Following Barber down the narrow road to the next building and up the stairs, they eventually came upon an old wooden door with a skull as the handle. Opening the door, a burst of toxic air hit Goku's face like a truck. He walked a couple more steps before he saw light and teeth at the end of the tunnel. He emerged from a devil statue's mouth and stood on his tongue that was elongated to touch another devil's tongue. Both devils were on a toilet with paper in between them. Looking down, he saw an angle of which only those who stood at the platform would see and couldn't help but pity the devil. Barber took out a juicy piece of steak from seemingly out of nowhere and demonstrated what would happen to someone if they would accidentally fall in. Goku couldn't help but lament for the steak as it sunk into the poisonous water never to be seen again. Come on in, dried up gladiator, mummy. A large man wrapped in bandages came through the devil across from Goku. He had a permanent sneer on his face as he walked along the tongue to face Goku. Battle begin. Ignoring the start of the battle from Barber, Goku threw his trash talk to the opposition immediately like any other good Samaritan would do when they want to win. Your name is Mummy. Did you come out wrapped up in bandages or something? Your mom must have an awful naming sense. Said Mummy had a look of confusion than of anger. This is my alias. Alias. How dare you insult my mom? Mummy charged at Goku in a fit of rage, but he was already in a defensive position. Cortex, left bicep, left thigh, right thigh. Mummy's punches were as accurate as they were fast despite Goku's taunting in the beginning. His burly body coupled with his fast speed was able to cover a lot of ground as he started to do chops towards Goku's head. Goku could feel the wind on his face from Mummy's heavy quick chops. No matter how fast Mummy did his attacks, Goku was able to dodge all of his attacks due to his small size advantage. Going under his lumbering fist, he did an uppercut to Mummy's chest. Mummy was lifted off the ground a couple of inches. Continuing his combo, Goku spun and kicked the side of Mummy while he was in the air. Airborne, Mummy flew back to his devil and crashed on its teeth, producing a few cracks. Mummy leaked a little blood from his mouth for the first time in a long time. He grabbed a loose piece of bandage and wiped the blood away. Both attacks put him in a very dire position physical-wise. His mental state was also in shambles after getting beaten up by a little kid. Goku looked at Mummy after he went back to a fighting position. He glared and exerted all his intimidation pressure onto the poor beaten-up man. Mummy's eyes suddenly whitened out and he passed out since all his mental defenses were down. Barber and Roshi were stunned at the spectacle before them. Exerting pressure was no easy task to learn. Mummy nearly fell out of the platform before Goku went up and caught him. He didn't want to see someone die for no reason. HMPH, you are one hell of a fighter. Get it? Hell in Devil's Toilet. Barber was laughing at her own joke while the next fighter came out. Here comes Devil Man. In comes a man in a literal devil suit. Equipped with horns, wings, and a tail, the black-clad man smirked at the little boy confident in his win. Battle begin. Devil Man launched up in the air with a flap of his wings. He smiled at Goku menacingly and went towards Goku with both of his hands in a claw-like fashion. His fingernails were disgustingly sharp and yellow as per usual for devils. Goku knew about Devil Man's special abilities and didn't have any confidence in defending against it. He had to finish this fast and he had enough power to. Goku, in turn, jumped up towards Devil Man in a counter, surprising everyone by his actions. Devil Man knew that they would meet in the center with both of their fists, with how Goku also had his fist in the same fashion but instead with closed fists. Just before they clashed, Goku retracted his arms and slipped through Devil Man's arms with his slim body. Before he can defend himself, Goku tilted his head back and rammed it back towards Devil Man's head. Thinking quickly, Devil Man leaned his head forward so that the horns on his heads were in between him and Goku. Although he couldn't get the spiky part to stab Goku because it was too far back, the extra protection gave him more confidence in his defense. His confidence was quickly shattered along with his horns and consciousness as he blacked out from the extreme pain. Devil Man slammed on the opposition wall with such force you would think something in his head cracked. Goku did not want to leave any variables, so he hit nearly as hard as he could. Goku has far expanded in strength than I ever realized. Barber and Roshi were stunned silly from the speed and strength that Goku displayed while Goku exhaled from the light workout he received. By golly! You are one tough cookie. Out came a short man with a very odd mask with some white hairs sticking out. Even though everyone couldn't see his face, they all knew the shocked expression was also coming across his face like it was on theirs. Even if Goku didn't already know who this was, he couldn't mistake that mustache for anything. I highly doubt I would win, but let us go to the other stage. We need an open fight to really test our limits. Somewhere in the middle of nowhere. This is the best. We can learn everything about Goku from the safety of our car. A dog spoke to his companions that were in the car with him in a really loud voice due to the earphones they had on. What? The girl sitting across the seat from him couldn't hear and scream out like the normal person would do when they can't hear themselves. Scream knowing that you are screaming so that you can hear yourself when you are not supposed to. Soon enough, they started arguing, making the blue gremlin in the front of the car very agitated. It became very much a problem, so the leader swiveled his body to tell off his subordinates. Would you two shut up? They immediately shut up, not wanting to endure the punishment. However, they then heard a small thud originating from the front seat's floor. Pilaf then saw a shiny orange ball spill out of the box that it was stored in. Panicking, he quickly put it back inside, sweating at the implication that it escaped its cage for even a split moment. Barber complied and led everyone back to the original stage. Standing face to face, he couldn't help but think back to the familiar times when they sparred against each other and the guilt he felt for what he did. They were whispering to each other before the match started. Barber was looking at Goku mischievously while the stranger showed no emotion through his mask. They both did their best to honor the other person in this spar. Like Goku always did. Definitely. Battle begin. Even though they were both standing still, they were both sizing each other up internally. Knowing that Gohan was a defensive fighter, Goku initiated the exchange by speeding over to him. A fist to the face was the starting move, but was easily dodged with a duck. When Gohan ducked, Goku did a quick knee that was blocked by two hands that were connected. Gohan clasped the appendage that was brought to him and threw him to the other side of the ring. Goku did a few flips and landed stably on his feet like a cat. They both had a good gauge on each other's strengths from the little exchange that they had. Gohan started this time with a jump kick that was landing hard and fast. Goku moved his body to the right to dodge the incoming attack. However, once Gohan landed, he reversed his momentum and sped towards Goku's back. Unable to turn around in time to counter or block to Gohan's wide attack, Goku forced his feet into the stadium to plant himself. Cracks formed like a spider web on the square stadium as Goku was firmly on the ground, tensing his back muscles ready for the impact. Gohan slammed into Goku like a freight train, shaking the entire stadium but not moving the rooted Goku. Feeling pain with his tackle, Gohan was stunned for a little bit. Goku took this advantage and grabbed Gohan in a clamp, like a reverse German suplex. He then, with as much force as he could, brought Gohan in front of him. Gohan's feet slammed the ground, cementing his position much like how Goku was right now. Goku then punched him as hard as he can, uprooting him and sending up ragdolling forward. In a daze, Gohan had just enough sense to change his position and barely latch onto the edge of the ring. Climbing back up, he couldn't help but praise all the training Goku was gone through despite his age. "You are quite the amazing martial artist, however, I will have to end this match now." Gohan rushed up to Goku with a blinding determination. He knew what this opponent was after, but he didn't know how he would go about it. When he was right in front of Goku, he jumped up to fly over Goku. He was anticipating a move like this and swiveled around to meet his aggressor. However, when he turned around, Gohan was nowhere to be seen. He felt something grab his tail in a tight manner, so he turned around to meet a mask right in his face. It turns out that Gohan used the after-image technique to fool Goku into thinking he jumped when didn't. "Looks like you weren't paying attention and now you lose." Goku started to limp like he was jello under Gohan's hand. "You didn't train your tail enough and it will be your downfall." Gohan started to raise his hand to start harassing the young child until he started to feel something unusual. He was instead being lifted up by the tail. Goku had a snicker on his face as he flicked his tail up, launching Grandpa Gohan in the air. Gohan felt proud but ashamed at being played a fool by his grandson. Both of them started to do their most prized move to hurl at each other. Kamehameha. The two beams clashed in the air, but the one with advantage was obvious to everyone there. Gohan was being slightly pushed even higher in the air. Before he could really lose, Gohan conceded, already achieving his objective. "I give." After hearing those words, both contestants powered down their blast until Gohan was safely on the ground. Gohan removed his mask and turned towards Goku. "It's me, your grandpa, but you already knew that, didn't you?" Just as he was able to finish his sentence, Goku already hugged him hard, making him stumble back a little. I am sorry, Grandpa, for what I did." Gohan had a look of astonishment on his face, surprised that Goku knew the cause of his death. "Ha ha ha. No worries, my grandson. I know it wasn't your fault. I am quite content with the afterlife anyways." Goku was talking to Gohan a little bit about his life after his passing, while Gohan told him about his circumstances in the overworld and his visit. After saying goodbye to his old master and the esteemed person who brought him back to see grandson, he parted ways with them after a quick last hug from his grandson. After Grandpa Gohan left, Baba started her divination to the last Dragon Ball. "The seventh of those Dragon Balls that you have. No biggie." Baba started to emit some strange magic power to the crystal ball while concentrating. Before long, a vision of a car that was slightly off the dirt road smoking came into view. Odd, from what I know Pilaf shouldn't have crashed like that. 120 km over there. It should be near the car and is not moving. Goku quickly thanked Baba and left Roshi to catch up with his sister. He completely ignored Roshi's pleading cries to take him with Goku. Arriving in no time thanks to his Nimbus, Goku slammed down next to the smoking car. What he found tied on the car surprised him. Dr. Briefs. His sleeping figure's hands were tied to the trunk of the car binding him. Hearing a voice, Dr. Briefs woke up with a jolt. Goku. Dr. Briefs finally had a look of excitement on his face compared to his usual indifferent expression. Goku quickly cut the ropes that bonded Dr. Briefs, making him rub his red wrists with an irritated expression. Thank you, Goku. Before he could ask Dr. Briefs why he was here, the scientist's neck was wrapped in a chokehold and a gun pointed at his face. Stay back or I will kill him. Goku couldn't believe his eyes. In front of him was someone that he thought was dead all this time. Bob. Tall Bob, to be a matter of fact, as he had a scared look on his face when holding his hostage. Bob discovered the Pilaf gang after they exposed their location for a split second with his prototype small radar from the obliterated our army. He hoped to trade the Dragon Ball for his life and beeline to them. Stay back, Goku, or I will shoot. He then realized the severity of the situation before him and his face transformed from a confused expression to a deadly serious one. This only made Bob sweat more as his face contorted with fear. Why? A simple question with seemingly endless answers. I was always with Red Ribbon Goku. I was just a low-ranking grunt who got lucky with a job at scouting the powerful Brief family. I was just doing my job. I just gave them information and nothing else. Did you kill Bob? Bob's face immediately turned into one of regret. However, it didn't last long, replacing it with a look of resolve and fearlessness. He backed out from the job. We were in it together, so when he said that he didn't want to do it, we couldn't have any trails behind us. Goku had enough of Bob's drivel and with extreme speed separated Dr. Brief and his tall assailant. Hitting the ground with a thud, Bob looked up with extreme fear if the water leaking out from between his pants was enough of an indicator. Please. Think of the times we had. Goku did think of the week that they got to know each other. Flashback. Goku nodded at the two approaching men when they saw each other. A standard greeting when seeing each other. The Bobs nodded in return before going their separate ways. End of flashback. A single tear fell out of Goku's eye. He suppressed his emotions and blasted him with a ki blast, taking in Bob's scream of agony. I will always remember you Bobs as good people in my heart. The people in the bushes and Dr. Brief's sweat dropped at the exaggerated display. Seeing this as opening, 3 mechs of various sizes ambushed the mourning Goku. Goku had his eyes closed because he was mourning the death of Bob, and he still had it closed when he effortlessly caught the smaller mech. He swung with all his might and launched the small mech, making it crash into the other ones. The force was so strong that they started to fly to the never-ending sky. Other Pilaf gang is blasting off again. After that rude interruption, Goku went back to respecting the pile of ash on the floor as if it was important. Goku and Dr. Briefs quickly left the scene on Goku's Nimbus and flew back to Capsule Corps after explaining what happened to Master Roshi. The destruction that is left there was still present in all of its glory. Bob's body was still in the exact same position, weirding Dr. Briefs a little with all the blood. Unsuccessfully avoiding getting blood on his shoes, Dr. Briefs made his way towards his lab while Goku went towards the home phone in the living room. Dialing Bulma's number that she gave him, it rang twice before she answered. Bulma. Goku. What are you doing at my house? Did you get your fortune and get the last Dragon Ball? We are at the ruins of the Red Ribbon Army HQ, come to us to help us find my father and mother. Actually, while I found the last Dragon Ball, your father was also there and I picked him up. There was silence on the phone. Goku could feel the Bulma's anger and frustration from the other side of the phone permeate under his skin. You mean I have been out here in his hot sun and dusty debris for nothing? Nothing. Not wanting to deal with Bulma's increasing fury with his silence, Goku hung up immediately. Needless to say, he felt sorry for Yamcha and the others that will face her wrath. Coming from the lab, Goku saw Dr. Briefs and Panchi walk into the room. They looked as calm as ever despite everything that has happened. Mrs. Briefs. You were here the whole. Where? Oh Goku, just call me Panchi. My husband has a secret hiding space that he told me to go, while he went to destroy the radar. What a thoughtful man, there was even tea ready for me. Surprised at the fact that Panchi could just sit around with tea while everything was happening was less extreme than Dr. Briefs telling Bulma about this so-called safe room. After having a lovely time talking with the Briefs over a cup of tea, the ticking time bomb finally arrived. Coincidentally, Goku had to go to the restroom at the exact same time. What luck! Dash. Construction was happening all over Capsule Corps with people coming and going. The Dragon crew didn't want to disturb the entire town, so they all went to a nearby desert to summon the dragon. You want to know more about your race? Master Roshi was stroking his beard, accessing Goku's wish to see if it was worthy enough. As if he would do a worthy wish. Yeah, I know that I am different than everyone else, so I would like to know more about me and my body. Alright, let's do this. I'm excited. Krillin spoke for everyone here on their anticipation towards this event. Naturally, everyone here present besides Bulma and Goku has not seen a divine dragon. No reason for making them wait any longer, Goku adhered to their wishes and summoned Shinron. Eternal Shinron, by your name I summon you forth. Goku still couldn't believe that he was summoning a reality-bending dragon. Darkness spread originating from the Dragon Balls onto the bright sky. The Dragon Balls glowed ominously once more, illuminating the now dark atmosphere. A stream of a yellow light erupted from the Dragon Balls, forming the incredible dragon before them. Everyone was in awe at the grand display that loomed over them. The dragon's voice boomed over everyone, making sure that its might is asserted and heard. I am the eternal dragon Shinron, I can grant you one wish. State your wish. I would like a book of some kind containing all the information that is important for my race. From my body compared to humans to my history. Goku roared from the top of his lungs. What he is asking is only for information that Shinron should have, not any real reality-bending powers. The eyes of Shinron glowed an even brighter color of red as a glowing ball of light promptly floated above the dragon crew. It has been done. Farewell. After saying his short goodbye, Shinron converted back into a ball of light. The light went straight towards the Dragon Balls before they started to rise up to dash into the open sky. Before they can though, Goku leaped up and caught a random ball to store inside his pocket. The light slowly started to fade back into normalcy, ending the spectacular event. He wasn't much of a conversationalist. Oh, Long thought that knowing a dragon would give him brownie points with the ladies. Oh well, he can always lie. Technically he did meet a dragon. Why did you grab a Dragon Ball, Goku? Krillin looked at Goku in confusion. Goku couldn't possibly be greedy enough for another wish. So if bad guys want to use the Dragon Balls, they will have to go through me. Even though Goku did want to abuse the Dragon Balls, this book will tell him if he would be able to or not. Ah, good idea. After the Red Ribbon Army incident, everyone realized how powerful and detrimental it would be if some evil entity obtained these Dragon Balls. Knock on wood. After suspending in the air for a little, a book descended from the air onto the hands of the waiting Goku. Everyone was curious about the contents, so Bulma erected a house for them to comfortably read. Roshi, Krillin, Yamcha, Pua, Oolong, Shishi, Bulma, and Goku all entered the house, and the couches were able to hold them all with room to spare. Goku began reading the title and table of contents before actually starting the book. The book cover had a dragon that looked like Shinron surrounding its edge for all to see. The title of the book was called Information of the Saiyan Race. Straightforward and to the point. Opening the book that had that new book smell, he encountered the table of contents. Table of Contents. Part 1, History of the Saiyans. Chapter 1, Ancient Era. Chapter 2, Prime Era. Chapter 3, Downfall of the Saiyans. Part 2, Culture of the Saiyans. Chapter 4, Fighting Capabilities. Chapter 5, Biology. Chapter 6, Society. Part 3, Transformations of the Saiyans. Chapter 7, Ape Transformations. Chapter 8, Super Transformations. Chapter 9, God Transformation. Chapter 10, Combinations, Hybrids, and Others. Part 1, History of the Saiyans. Chapter 1, Ancient Era. Saiyans could be dated back to before age 300 or further back, residing in their home world, planet Saidala. Ancient Saiyans at their core were very primitive in their desire for violence and conflict. Their ki as modern society has it is fundamentally different from their descendants. Although their ki is different from each other, their usage of it is mostly the same besides the usage of some transformations. In the ancient era, due to their unruly and inhumane lifestyle, there rose a group of righteous Saiyans that tried to fight back against their own race to have them stop their ways. Their leader was named Yamashi, and he held an incredible power to help stop their people. This was the power of the Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God. More detail in Part 3. With his noble heart, the transformations gave him an incredible boost of power that was able to push back his opposition, but it wasn't enough. Eventually, he destroyed himself with his own powers, leaving behind a legend and bloodthirsty race. Due to internal strife, planet of Saidala was destroyed, leaving the Saiyans homeless. Obtained by unknown means, a small group left on spacecraft in an unknown direction. Eventually, they made it to another planet, one that was already inhabited by a highly civilized race, planet Plant, in age 550. The Tuffles that lived there welcomed their foreign invaders seemingly unconcerned because of their high technological standard. They lived there for decades in the wastelands, while the Tuffles lived in big cities with a high populace. Caving into their violent disposition, they started a war with the Tuffles in age 720, declaring to wipe them out. With their high population and high technology, they were able to combat the warrior race, causing a 10-long war. In age 730, a once-in-a-100-year event that allowed the Saiyans to finally throw the Tuffles into the drain, a full moon. Once in a full moon, Saiyans are able to use their unique biology to transform into great apes by looking at the full moon to absorb blunt waves. More detail in Part 3. Finally getting rid of their opposition, they renamed the planet to Planet Vegeta and inhabited and integrated the Tuffles' high technology to enhance their fighting experience. A notable piece of technology is the Scouter that is able to read another's power level. Approached by an alien race named the Arcosians, they were hired to invade and sell a planet to them in exchange for technology. Saiyans, using the Arcosians as a jump, started to conquer worlds and sell them to provide a suitable outlet for their destruction. This ushered in what is called the Prime Age or Modern Age of Saiyans, as they have gotten less barbaric while still retaining their need for fighting. Chapter 2, Prime Age. The Prime Age of Saiyans could be marked when they started to become world conquerors or when they were enlisted in the Cold's army. The Saiyans were enlisted to King Cold's army, the universe's emperor and biggest military in the universe, in age 731, only 1 year after their war with the Tuffles. Annexed into King Cold's army, later to be known as Frieza's army and empire in age 732, they were the top group in terms of their fighting prowess. Due to being able to grow stronger as they fight more, Saiyans were rising in power much faster and consistently. As Saiyans in this age, they were always discriminated against as unintelligent monkeys only useful for fighting. This fighting prowess and potential of the race had set the precedent for their doom. Chapter 3, Downfall of the Saiyans. Saiyans and their love for destruction would eventually lead them to their destruction. Frieza, who had the power of Saiyans many times over, was beginning to grow concerned because of the legend of the Super Saiyan. Yamashi interference from long ago led the descendants of the barbaric Saiyans to perish. The god of destruction, Beerus, deemed Saiyans barbaric and annoying and called for their death. Frieza listened to his order, fearing otherwise, and on age 737, summoned all Saiyans back to their home world. When all the Saiyans arrived, Frieza launched a devastating planet-destroying move to eradicate Planet Vegeta. A small group of Saiyans survived the genocide by being off-planet at the time. A notable Saiyan is named Bardock, who was the only one to try and stop the destruction despite doing nothing because of his low power. Part 2, Culture of the Saiyans. Chapter 4, Fighting Capabilities. Most Saiyans, although having a love for fighting and potential for power, very few Saiyans were considered prodigies. They were determined from birth their rank, and very few ascended those rankings later on. These included low class, mid class, and the elite. Most Saiyans are low class and they stay there for all their life unless they can exponential growth later on. Low-class Saiyans dominated average jobs and only top low-class warriors fought in the front lines. Mid-class Saiyans dominated higher ranks such as generals in the Saiyan army. Elite Saiyans were very few and mostly are rulers or descendants of them. Some low-class Saiyans are made into infiltration babies. They are sent off to planets that have low powers as babies so they can conquer them. For low-class Saiyans, this is a sort of rite of passage. If they are successful, they are integrated into the army and receive great rewards. If a Saiyan achieves a near-death experience and survives, they would gain what is called a Zenkai boost. This boost will effectively make them stronger than they were before the experience without any side effects. Chapter 5, Biology. Babies in the Saiyan race are normally not nurtured by their parents but hibernates inside a healing pod since birth. As mentioned before, Saiyans uses Scouter technology to determine babies at birth to see what class they are in. Normal healthy Saiyans usually have a humanoid form with dark hair and dark eyes. These can be changed during transformations. They come in all sizes and sport a tail just above their rear that allows them to transform into a great ape. An untransformed Saiyan's hair does not change from birth, while they can grow facial hair but at a very slow rate. Saiyans as a warrior race stays in their prime fighting condition until they are 80 years of age. In their childhood, they stay small in size throughout their adolescence. When they achieve adulthood, they have a growth spurt to their prime. Saiyans are naturally resilient as their planet has high gravity and evolution made them more resistant to elements. Their tail is their natural weak spot but can be trained like any other muscle to eliminate that. Ingrained in their DNA, Saiyans are violent by nature but some are an exception to that. Saiyans normally have a high sex drive as adults but a low birth rate. With this and the rough activities of Saiyans, the Saiyan population was never able to grow large. Chapter 6, Society. Saiyan society as a whole is very cutthroat and looks out for yourself to deal with a few exceptions. Most Saiyans have a detached emotional base by choice. They do not share familiar love by choice, and strong-willed people are what Saiyans seek out for breeding purposes. Some jobs of Saiyans include technicians or lower-classed jobs like a butcher. Their appetite is enormous and is found to eat almost anything presented to them. Part 3, Transformations of the Saiyans. Chapter 7, Ape Transformations. Widely known for their ape transformations, all Saiyans with tails can naturally transform with a full moon. Exposure to these blood waves allows Saiyans to tap into their simian roots, and the transformation is about controlling emotional anger. The first transformation is known as the Great Ape Transformation. The Saiyan body will spurt simian's characteristics and grow until they become a 15 to 20 meter ape with red eyes. With no proper training, this form will cause one to go berserk and rampage against enemies and allies. The known power gained from this transformation is x10 to your base form. The next step in ape transformation is a technique called perfect control. Perfect control also is used in all other transformations, allowing them to advance as well. When using perfect control on the Great Ape Transformation, one will achieve the Perfect Ape Transformation / Ape Transformation. This transformation reverts the Saiyan back into a humanoid form while still retaining hair all over their body. One's power level will not increase, but with a humanoid body there is more physical and ki control compared to the Great Ape. Chapter 8, Super Transformations. Super transformations are the second branch of transformations that a Saiyan can embark on. These transformations allow Saiyans to tap into the height of raw power and is about righteousness and emotional release. To achieve the first transformation, the Super Saiyan transformation, one needs S cells. All Saiyans have S cells and can transform into Super Saiyans. To obtain enough S cells, one needs to have a gentle nature or increase in fighting power. If they experience a strong emotional trigger while having enough S cells, one can transform into a Super Saiyan. S cells are passed down to children, making it easier for them to transform. The first step in this branch of transformations is the normal Super Saiyan transformation. This transformation will greatly enhance all aspects of their body and ki to extraordinary heights. The said Saiyan will have their hair be golden and standing while their iris turn a blue color. The known power gained from this transformation is x50 to your base form. When undergoing Super Saiyan, all violent dispositions of Saiyan biology will be enhanced. By using perfect control, you will be able to control your emotions, normalize its increase of power, and transform to the next step. This stage called Perfect Super Saiyan. Before going to the next step, the Super Saiyan transformation has two subcategories. These subcategories are not actual transformations but applications to the Super Saiyan transformation. By forcefully injecting Ki into muscles to inflate them, one can increase their power greatly and speed marginally. However, by doing this, you will lose an exponential amount of Ki in return, and if in a prolonged state, one will be crippled for a short period of time. This form is called Super Saiyan Enhanced. By forcefully injecting more Ki into one's muscles to inflate them, one will increase the first Super Saiyan transformation to its max potential. However, by doing this, you will lose an extreme amount of speed and stamina due to the muscles being inflated too much. In a prolonged state, one will be crippled for a short period of time due to stress on the body. This form is called Super Saiyan Maxed. The next step in the Super Saiyan transformations is the true Super Saiyan transformation. To achieve this transformation, you will need to have done perfect control and achieved perfect Super Saiyan. After this, you will need another emotional trigger or intense training to make the breakthrough. This transformation is 2x stronger than Super Saiyan, x 100 to base, in all fighting aspects. Electrical currents will circulate around the body making the hair grow even pointer. This transformation marks the end of the Super Saiyan transformations. But there is one more special step that one can take to forcefully increase one's power. Similar to Super Saiyan Enhanced and Maxed, this is an incomplete step to forcefully increase your power. However, due to its enormous power buff and only one limiter, it can also be considered a step. It is the Beyond Super Saiyan transformation. To achieve this form will have needed to achieve true Super Saiyan and encounter a special circumstance while having intense training. This transformation is 4x stronger than true Super Saiyan, x 400 to base, in all fighting aspects. One's hair will grow longer if not so already, and their eyebrows would disappear. This transformation's major drawback is its usage of Ki and its dependency on it compared to the other forms that stress the body. Due to this, Ki will deplete abnormally fast, making the transformation short but powerful. Chapter 9, God Transformation. The last and most powerful branch that a Saiyan can use is the Saiyan God Transformation. This branch only includes one transformation but is unique compared to the others. To achieve this transformation, a ritual where one needs to have 5 righteous Saiyans infuse their righteousness into their target, making that person a Super Saiyan God. Another method is to have a divine individual train you and long exposure to divine Ki. The Saiyan God transformation is the strongest form a Saiyan can take without any combinations of branches. The God form uses God Ki instead of normal Ki, making the form extremely more powerful. One has to keep doing to God ritual to regain their godly form unless they are able to integrate God Ki into their body. Doing such a thing is a near impossible task. Chapter 10, Combinations, Hybrids, and Others. Combination is the process of combining different branches to have a multiplied powered form that has characteristics of all the branches that are used. Combinations are widely unknown territory, but it is theorized that it is possible to combine any form to another. Beads of Saiyans has a higher battle potential than normal Saiyans do. There are strict breeding regulations because Saiyans in the Prime Era were afraid of being overrun and outpowered by hybrids. It is unknown if hybrids are able to achieve all transformations that normal Saiyans do or if they have more. There are exceptions to transformations depending on special individuals. One such example is the legendary Super Saiyan who has 2 forms, Super Saiyan and Legendary Super Saiyan. There may be other special transformations that are unique that are unknown at the moment. Well, Just wow. Everyone was stunned speechless when Goku was reading the book to everyone. They felt like they were reverted back to little kids being read a storybook. They all hung on to every word and looked at each other in surprise. What now? It was a lot to digest. Everyone turned to face Goku, the one was most affected by this information. What they saw was Goku laced in deep thought instead of the shock and wow that they were feeling at this moment. Goku, of course, knew about most of the stuff in the book, but the main reason he asked for it was a cover story and some information that would fill the gaps that he had. Namely, Super Saiyan 4 and if it was possible to achieve it. However, from what Shinron has stated, the Saiyan transformations had different names than before. True Super Saiyan 4, Super Saiyan 2 and beyond Super Saiyan 4, Super Saiyan 3. It does make sense if you look at the function of Super Saiyan 2 and 3 besides the chronological order that they came in. Super Saiyan 3 was always a fail-safe form and had a huge problem that the other two main transformations did not have. Super Saiyan 2 was always the state that Saiyans used in long fights before the introduction of God forms because it has no restrictions with all the power. So saying that the Super Saiyan 2 form is the true Super Saiyan form in terms of usability and practicality is correct. However, he didn't dwell too much on that because it didn't really matter what the names were. The main thing that was shouting out at him at this moment was, Shadow Dragons. Seeing that Super Saiyan 4 does exist if he just combines the Ape and Super Saiyan forms, it is logical to believe that Shadow Dragons do exist as well. Until he confirms it with Kami and Popo, he has to take all precautions to prevent a potential calamity. The 2 wishes he has done would pave the way to becoming stronger, so he doesn't really need any more. The next wishes would only be for emergencies, and any wishes that he could prevent, he will do his best. So Goku is from a race called Saiyans. This is a lot to take in. Bulma was a little shaken that she seemingly knew nothing about Goku and his race. Yeah, no kidding. No wonder why he is so powerful, he is from a warrior race. Yamcha couldn't help but think of all the advantages Goku had compared to him. However, he would just have to get used to it. Don't forget that he is one of the last of his kind. That must be hard. She pointed out the most relevant piece of information that immediately brought everyone's attention to the surface. Is no one going to bring up this so-called God transformation? After talking a bit more about the book, everyone was satisfied with the excitement that was brought for a time being. Goku was quiet for most of the conversation, feigning the fact that he needed to process the big information. All right, Goku, it is time for the next phase of your training. From what I heard, Bulma is creating something that will make your training harder. You will travel around the world to gain more experience. The rest of us will go back to the turtle house for more training. Bulma, and Goku left towards Capsule Corps while along, Roshi, Yamcha, Krillin, and Pua left towards the turtle house. Arriving at the Capsule Corp, all the repairs have already been done and it wouldn't be soon before normal operations ensued. Entering the house and looking for Dr. Briefs, they found him in the destroyed laboratory doing work like there wasn't debris around him. Coming up to him, he turned around with a bright smile on his face. Hey kiddos, just working on improving the gravity on the chamber. After the whole escapade that Dr. Briefs endured, he felt that he owed Goku enormously. So in return, he fervently started working on gravity manipulation. Hey Dad, we need a portable gravity chamber. How long do you think that would take? Well, I think that I can achieve 5x gravity in another week or so. Something portable would probably take a lot longer. Well, let's get to it. Week later. Goku routine was pretty standard in the house. Training in the morning, talking with the girls, trying to avoid getting pulled into things like shopping, back to training, and sleep. Goku was still stuck in the 2x gravity, just doing exercises that he normally would. There was currently no training partner or combat robots for him to practice on, but he was still growing stronger. 2 weeks later. Hey Goku, I finally finished the portable gravity chamber. I call it the gravity belt. Dr. Brief's voice boomed through the gravity chamber, slightly startling Goku, who was doing push-ups right now. Goku just changed to 3x gravity after being under 2x felt normal. Goku left the gravity chamber incredibly sweaty to see Bulma, Shishi, and Dr. Briefs. Seeing the shirtless body of Goku, Shishi immediately looked down while Bulma looked to the left. They both had a fierce blush on their face while the guys seemingly didn't notice as they were focused on talking to each other. This is the gravity belt that will go around your waist. As he was saying this, he was putting on the belt for Goku, making Bulma and Shishi regretful that they didn't volunteer for the role. The belt had a blue circle in the middle with buttons around it. The belt fits like a bracelet with a black exterior. So you can change the gravity here and it can up to 5x gravity. Dr. Briefs pressed a few buttons on the belt and the display on the blue circle flashed 5x a couple of times. After 3 flashes, Goku felt an immense pressure forcing him to splat on the floor. Goku. It took them 30 minutes just to lift him up and press the button again with a little help of machines. Well, a lot of help. Goku looked at Dr. Briefs with an annoyed expression on his face while he put his arms up in defense. Well, I guess this is goodbye for 3 years. Goku was saying goodbye to Shishi and Bulma at the entrance. He was only carrying a small bag with the gravity belt strapped tightly with a 3x on display. Goku dashed from the entrance and onto the nearby forest to experience the world. He dashed as hard as he can, making him a blur to the regular eyes. He truly did not know what to expect, but he knew he was going to have fun doing it. 7 months. 7 months in and Goku has already seen a lot of what this world had to offer. From dinosaurs to secret underwater adventures. He has even been on pirate ships and seen numerous martial arts dojos. He was able to extract a lot of inspiration from their fighting styles and techniques. So far he has almost finished with his 3x training. Every soil he has trekked through has sunk from the sheer weight that he is currently. 1 year and 6 months. Halfway there and he is still discovering new things. Although civilization is more concentrated in the cities, the Badlands had also some interesting creatures and people. He has encountered enormous sandworms to a pack of 100 wolves. He has already advanced to 4x since he was 9 months in and has never taken the belt of ever. Every muscle was being trained. Every single one. 2 years and 10 months. His around-the-world trip is almost over. The best part about being strong was that he never needed money for anything. Food, water, and even clothing were all provided by animals. He just advanced to 5x gravity. He has realized that since his body is smaller and more underdeveloped compared to his prime phase, he is unable to train more intensely. Although the training he is doing now would greatly benefit more than usual. Anyways, it is about time to start heading back to the group. Let's hurry up, Bulma. We will be late for the tourney. We have to meet up with the rest of them. She was exasperated with how long Bulma spent in the bathroom. She personally didn't like makeup as she didn't really how it felt on her face, but she understood the need for it. She grew up to be quite the young lady at the age of 15. Her growth spurt already occurred, making her almost the same height as Bulma, with other areas growing as well. I am sorry she. This is the first time we will be seeing Goku in 3 years. Sorry if I want to at least look even more beautiful than I already am. From Bulma's words, she started to become really self-conscious about her looks and if Goku would find her pretty or not. Wait, why would she care if he did or not? Those thoughts really didn't help when Bulma stepped out of the house sparkling a little. Her hair was long with curves that really brought out her facial features. Bulma and she actually went on an adventure of their own. With Bulma's tech and Shi's small knowledge of martial arts, they were able to gather the other 6 Dragon Balls throughout the 3 years. They had talked about what they wanted to do with it despite Goku's asking them to only use it during an emergency. After hearing about Goku's race and other factors, they thought that the Dragon Balls would be the best to solve the issues that they had. They only need Goku's last ball. Speaking of the devil, before the group could load up in the helicopter to meet up with the others, they could see a storm of dirt approach them. The dirt blew up like a storm right in front of the duo, yet no dirt got on any of them. After the dust settled, a short boy emerged that the girls didn't expect. Goku. Phew, I made it. Goku panted from the full sprint that he had done for a while. The 5x gravity really was a workout considering that the pavement was partly cracked from Goku's feet. Goku took a quick shower and changed his clothes from the spares that he had left over before all of them boarded the helicopter. Bulma was very visibly disappointed when Goku was still as short as he was, but she quickly hid it, being the 19-year-old she was. It was really weird being the age that you are supposed to have puberty but in a child's body. Goku guessed that Saiyans didn't have puberty because of their special growing phases, or that it will come in like a truck after he grows into his prime phase. He put that thought into the back of his mind since it wasn't doing him any favors and put the focus ahead of him. The 22nd World Martial Arts Tourney. Arriving at the meetup point at the airport, they meet up with the rest of the crew. Goku. Krillin saw the trio first and noticed Goku mixed in with the girls. Everyone went up to them to greet them. You have grown a little bit, Goku. Doesn't matter. I will win this time. Yamcha said, pointing at himself with an extremely arrogant smirk. Yes, you will, Yamcha. I believe in you. Goku patted on his arm with a sincere expression on his face. So Goku, how has your training going? What is it that Bulma created to improve yourself with your trip around the world? Yeah. Bulma and her dad were working gravity manipulation and they gave me this. Goku pointed at the belt that he was currently wearing. On it was flashing the image of 2x in bright white. Goku needed to turn down the gravity or else the helicopter they came in would have been brought down from the weight. Ha! So what, is it increasing your gravity to put more stress on your body and muscles? Roshi was prodding Goku with a stick to see if it would affect the stick or Goku in some way. Before Goku could answer, Bulma injected, feeling a little too happy to be discussing science with the old coot. That is the basic premise behind it. How it works is that it calibrates the effect of gravity that is already placed on the user and enhances it to whatever degree you want. That is why his clothes and other necessities are not affected, but he is. It is only affecting him throughout his entire body. Bulma finished off her rant on the amazing technology that she made. I see. So what right now he is at 2x gravity compared to us. Interesting. Everyone nodded at the simple explanation that Pua whipped up. They didn't really pay attention to the details, only results. Bulma didn't notice it, soaking up the fact that she is indeed a genius, making Shi and Goku look at her in pity. After talking with the crew about what they did over the 3 years that they were separated, they all heard their flight being called. They all ushered in the plane, taking up their assigned seats that were next to each other. Bulma was able to get Goku's pass last second when he showed up to her house. Pays to be friends with some of the most powerful people on Earth. They all talked some more on the short flight while Roshi was busy groping the flight attendant. We made sure to point out that we didn't know him when she asked. Landing at the airport, they quickly hailed 2 taxis that were already on the road to go to the tournament. They finally arrived at the entrance of the tournament grounds. They saw hordes of people crowd around, not letting anyone else go through. There are a lot more people here than last time. I guess the last tourney really got people riled up. Pua hovered above everyone, trying to see an end to the massive cluster of people. Everyone was heading to the spectator stands while the registration stand was pushed back a little. Pua noticed a line sort that was blocked with some rope. They headed towards that line and were about to enter before someone stopped them with their nasally voice. Why, if it isn't my former rival, the Turtle Hermit. Former because I am way out of your league now. Walking up to them was an old man of the same aura of Master Roshi. When they locked eyes, there was a fierce clash of sparks that erupted. Why, if it isn't my former rival, the Crane Hermit. Former because he couldn't take rejection from a lady unlike me, where I get all of them. Shin spat to the side at the old jab and snorted at the Roshi's entourage behind him. He scanned the orange outfits with disgust. No matter. Although your school was more prevalent in the last world martial arts, it was only because my school was not present. This time, however, we will stomp on you flat until you disappear with Tien and Kyaotsa. Shin pointed to the tall man with an extra eye on his forehead and the pale person that was floating. Are you smoking something more severe than last time? You up the ante from weed to cocaine. My students won't even see you in the finals, let alone compete. HMPH. Not willing to put up with Roshi any longer, Shin headed to the large crowd while Tien and Kyaotsa went to the presumable registration line. Who was that Master Roshi? Krillin looked between the 2 old monsters with curiosity. That was my old friend turned rival. We had the same masters, but he was led down a dark path. Not wanting to discuss it further, they all continued their way to the roped-in line. You guys here to register? It was a large man with a muscular complexion. His eyes scanned the group, resting on a few particular faces. Yeah. Goku answered simply. Only contestants. You better register or you will regret it. The non-combatants, including Roshi, grumbled before heading on to the big crowd that was formed. Goku knew that mass was going to test the patience of Bulma before she did something to get her to the front. The rest went through the line, making it very obvious that they were fighters when everyone glanced at them. They recognized the group and the crowd broke into a discussion. Goku could easily hear what they were saying. Who do you think would win? I think that Goku Kid is going to win this time. What are you saying? He was strong, but he is still as short as he was before. I think that Jackie-chan will win if he comes back. I don't see Jackie. I believe Yamcha will win. His wolf fang fist was cool. It wasn't long before that person was shoved out of the crowd and back into the front of the entrance. Dash. Everyone at the preliminary stage looked at the trio with a bit of fear as they walked into a whole slew of different fighters. An old man came out of the woodworks and started talking to the contestants. He basically told everyone that participants were increasing, making the tournament come every 3 years. Goku on the corner of his eye saw a familiar luscious hair attached to a familiar old man. Everyone went up and grabbed a paper from the box. Everyone was on separate brackets like the plot planned. Yamcha in Block 1, Goku and Krillin in Block 2, Jackie in Block 3. Of course, the preliminaries served as a reminder as to how brutally strong they were compared to the regular fighters. The ones in the same block as them really started to regret their life decisions and considered backing out right there. Being the douches that they are, Tien and Kyaotsu came up and Tien bumped Yamcha on the shin, inciting a response. And that he did when Yamcha nearly fell down. Hey, watch it, eyeball. You would think that with an extra eye, a freak like you would see where you are going. Tien stopped while Kyaotsu looked worriedly at him when his expression didn't change. Tien turned around and glared at the smirking Yamcha. Better watch your back, weakling. Hope you squeal like an actual wolf when I crush you. After those words, they turned around and left. Needless to say, the prelims were pretty stale with each fighter easily winning each round. The crew studied their rivals' abilities while they did the same, but no one was really showing too much as the fights were not hard enough. They found the others at the front after weaving through the massive crowd that was surrounding the ring. How did you guys get to the front of all those people? Krillin asked the others. Everyone looked a little embarrassed when he asked that besides Bulma and Launch. At the same time, everyone within earshot glared at Bulma before she returned it at full force. All I did was make everyone in my way smaller with my newly invented shrink wave and went to the front. They got a free show from the bottom up anyways before I unshrank them, so I don't know why they are so touchy. At that remark, everyone in the crowd looked away while the fighting trio looked at the gun on her hand that she produced out of nowhere with great interest. An improved version of your shrink watch. Nice. Goku said with earnest. Thanks. At least someone appreciates my technology. Bulma said with a little more oomph than usual. Sure enough, the contestants were called just a few moments after. All contestant please gather at the main hall, the tournament will start soon. Entering the hall, they saw Jackie, Tien, Kyaotsu, a man-wolf, and another guy with bandages wrapped around his hands. Goku was stretching himself while the announcer was getting everything ready. Krillin and Yamcha were talking amongst themselves before the Nag petrol came. Looks like garbage has been smelling up the whole room. Don't worry, we will take it out soon enough. Yamcha and Krillin looked at each other in exasperation. They could not believe that this guy is still trying to talk trash. They both looked towards Goku and he was completely ignoring them both in favor of his warm-ups. Hey Goku, they are talking to us. Yamcha thought that he was a little slow at the uptake on this one. Huh. Oh, I thought they were talking to themselves. Real martial artists show their training on the stage, not by losing their dignity with talking outside of it. After that snooky answer, Krillin and Yamcha smirked at the embarrassed Tien. I'll show you. They both stormed off just as the announcer called them over to draw lots. It was the same charming announcer with his blonde hair and extravagant gestures. Let's start with last tournament's champion, Jackie Chan. Number 4, Match 2. Yamcha, Number 1, Match 1. Put, Number 7, Match 4. Tien, Number 5, Match 3. Krillin, Number 8, Match 4. Man-Wolf, number 2, match 1. Kyaotsa, number 3, match 2. Goku, number 6, match 3. After Goku got the last card, he glanced at the smirking Tien. Staring at him for a few seconds, he adverted his gaze to Kyaotsa, who was next time. He smirked when they made eye contact and put a finger on his eyes and pulled it down, revealing the red below his eyes. After they got stunned for a little, Goku left to spectate the first match. Sorry for making you wait, everyone. The 22nd World Martial Arts Tournament begins now. Everyone in the crowd cheered, nearly deafening the announcer as he sweat dropped at the excitement. From these 8, the winner will receive 500,000 zeni and be officially named the strongest under the heavens. The first match we have is someone by the name of Man Wolf in the left corner. Not to be confused with wolf men who turned to wolves during a full moon. Man Wolf turns into a man during the full moon. Man Wolf walked on stage with a certain amount of swagger in his step. And on the right corner, we have Yamcha. A contestant from the previous tournament, he is known for his wolf fang fist and judging from his GI, a student at the Turtle Hermit School. We shall see. An actual wolf vs the imitation. Let the match begin. When he heard the word imitation, he scoffed at the ludicrously from such a statement. He made the glorious wolf fang fist and is proud of such a feat. If any. You are going down, kid. I need to meet up with Jackie Chun so I can smash his skull in. Yamcha smirked at the hot-headed man wolf before him and decided to teach him a lesson. HMPH. I will show you and everyone else what my so-called imitation is. After saying such a bold statement, he launched himself at his opponent. That's it, guys. Hope you like the video. Like, share and subscribe the channel, and also make sure you tell me your recommendation in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching.